of fact, he's stationed where my son is.
Fort Lewis.
I think so.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Dive Bomb Industries. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver. And, for the record, what I see flying into the pond today? 2 groups
Wood
of teal.
ducks. You saw wood
Fuck,
ducks.
there wasn't no damn wood ducks in West Texas. We ain't got no fucking trees.
There's trees
Teal.
right down there.
2 flocks of teal come in. Tony come in and got me, said, come here and look at this. I'm like, fuck, set me up for a snake again. And there was 2 flocks of teal come in. So it's 105 degrees, but we do have a north wind. And so first teal of this season are seen on August 21st for us this year. I still say they've been here before then. You disagree with that?
I mean, you say you saw them, I'm going to say you saw them.
It's wedding. We just got back from the Nebraska wedding with Blake.
Yep.
We married my fat son off.
What are your feelings on wedding? Introduce our guest, and we'll get
With us today from Team Texas Fallen Outdoors from Wichita Falls, Mr. Bear Bronaugh. Did I do it right? Did I say your last name right?
That's correct, sir.
The whole thing, the name and everything.
Yes, sir.
Chalk that down. That's the first time I've ever not fucked up in
That's a good one.
887 podcasts or something.
He has a hard time because for whatever reason, that's the only time he's like consciously thinking about what he's going to say, and it's always fucked up. Always fucked up.
I think I was just talking about that.
I subconsciously say shit that I shouldn't probably say that gets me fucked up later, but I still say it.
What are your feelings on weddings? Big extravagant weddings.
Well, funny you should say that. My daughter, she's a senior this year, and she's already a young woman, but she's about to venture into life. And I know that weddings are right around the corner, and I know how damn expensive they can be.
Right.
So yeah, man, my wife and I, we were high school sweethearts, and we got married at the courthouse. I was in the military at the time. And so we just did a basic, justice of the peace, and then we had an actual ceremony whenever I got out of basic training. I came back to Wichita Falls, and it was a nice little ceremony, but it wasn't super extravagant. And I'm thankful for that because my wife's not like that. She's not materialistic or want the, $40,000 wedding. So, but yeah, man, I know they can be expensive, and I'm not looking forward to it. I'll tell you that much.
We were teeing off. Blake, who works for us, he's like another son to me. Means a lot to me. I love the boy to death. Him and Emily got married. The whole clan went to Nebraska. I slept in a fraternity house for 3 days. It seemed like.
Why?
Fucking my bed was 18 inches wide.
Twin bed.
Yeah, fuck, it was terrible. And if you noticed, your kid slept downstairs with us all the time. And
That's where the bunk bed was.
Your youngest son talks a lot.
He does talk a lot.
He's not at nighttime. He just kept talking and talking and talking. So Michelle said, quit answering him. If you won't answer him no more, he'll go to sleep. And
Doesn't really ask a whole lot of questions. He just talks.
Yes.
A little jabberbox.
He's
Yeah.
a talker.
How old is he?
5. Just turned 5 a couple
Nice.
weeks ago.
I have
Had
a
his
6-year-old.
shirt off at the wedding, was just in shorts running around jumping all over
He had
the
a
place.
button up
Nice.
like Jeff, and he had it all the way undone. He looked like The Rock running into like a promo.
He was probably the star of the show too. Huh?
He has a really good time. Anyways, we're teeing off. We played golf on Saturday. Got married at the country club, so we all played golf. All the groomsmen, and then me and the Texas boys. There were some other guys from Texas there, good friends. When we played golf that morning, and I saw them setting up all the chairs, and they had the wedding venue set up over there, and I was like, you know what that is? That's a waste of fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
Weddings and funerals are the 2 biggest waste of money in this country. We're driving to Nebraska, and I saw a sign in Oklahoma City, and it said cremations for $7.99.
Ooh.
Thought, hell, that's cheap.
$799.
$7.99. Or a casket funeral for $21.99. Might be putting your ass in the ground in cardboard.
Right.
But to me, that's good money.
Yeah.
That's the best deal going. I do not understand people that pay $15,000 and $20,000 for a casket.
That's insane.
I don't give a fuck how much money you got. Give that money to charity. Give it to your grandkids. Let them do whatever the fuck they want with it.
They're going to throw dirt on it.
Fuck yeah,
regardless.
it's going under. There is nobody. Have you ever drove by a cemetery and said, "Boy, I bet his fucking casket's 6 foot down." looks
Never.
good." No,
Never.
Nobody cares.
Now, the nice, tall, big ones that have buildings around them, I mean,
Right.
those are kind of cool,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? At least you have your own little shrine. And
We were in Tarrytown, New York, Sleepy Hollow, New York, and we went to the Michelle. Every fall we go somewhere. She takes pictures of leaves. We always go to old cemeteries. at Terrytown, the Rockefellers are building, and they got these big fucking granite buildings as big as your house.
Oh, I bet.
Where they're buried and shit. And I thought, that's fucking cheesy.
Just a waste of money.
Yeah, and they say now the Mexican drug cartels, all them guys, they build these fucking 10 and 15,000 square foot homes on top of where they put them at.
That's insane.
Yeah,
It's called an obelisk, right?
A what?
An obelisk? Is that what it's called? The thing that they're buried in?
I think it's called a mausoleum.
Oh.
Obelisk is like it's like Bunker Hill's an obelisk.
Oh.
I think.
So what about you? Do you want to get cremated or actual buried?
I used to want to be buried because I was always scared of fire and drowning. I love water.
Yeah.
I love water, so but claustrophobic and drowning has always bothered me for some reason, and fire.
Yeah.
I don't want to get fucking caught in a fire burn. That's
Man, that'd be
biggest
brutal.
thing. So I never wanted to, but as I've gotten older and my dad was cremated, fuck, I ain't gonna be there anyways. What's it matter? It's cheap. Plus, I would rather take my ashes and spread them out.
100%.
We travel a lot. I want my wife and her new husband or whoever the fuck he is or whatever it is. She turns into lesbian, whatever. I don't give a shit. Take me and throw my ashes wherever you go to see, because I would like my ashes everywhere. But the reality is them ashes aren't you either.
Right.
But
So Jeff's dad, Ron, we were all really, really close to him. He's right. That's his urn right there.
That
So
goose.
it's like
Oh, nice.
he's in that goose. So
That's very cool.
for us, it's been nice because he's still here in a way. Like, not like Jeff said, he's not here,
Right.
but like just knowing that like every time we come to work, it's kind of like visiting him at the cemetery.
Right.
Because let's be honest, like I've got relatives that are in the cemetery also. I never go see them.
Yeah.
Or I never go. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but
I'm the same way, man. My brother, who was actually in the service as well, he was in the military with me, and he passed away in 2008, and he's buried right out there at Crestview. And, you know, for the first few years, I would go see him all the time, but, you know, I know that's not where he's at. That's where, you know, his shell, his body's there, but I've been, you know, I'm kind of hard on myself about it. I need to go see him, but I don't. But I know that he's not there. You know, his spirit's around me, and but back to the cremation deal. My wife wants to be cremated, but when my brother died, we bought plots next to him because I think we bought like 3 plots for me, my mom, my dad, and then I think my wife. But my wife wants to be cremated now, and so I've always wanted to be buried. I always thought cremation was kind of weird because I don't like fire, like you were saying. But now they have so many cool things you can do. You can put those ashes into rings. You can build tree. I mean, you can.
he's in shotgun shells also.
Shotgun,
Ron
anything,
is, yeah.
like anything. So
It's amazing how many ashes you get from a 6'3", 250-pound guy.
yeah, I bet it's a lot.
fuck it, my dad's ashes are in that urn. We spread them out in Lake Huron. And Boss shot shells, we sent him ashes. He sends like 10 cases of shells. Here's
cool.
Ron. I'm like, God dang.
We sent y'all way too much.
Yeah.
We should have brought like a measuring cup and like should have just brought you this much around.
Right? That's
yeah,
cool
we
though. I
didn't
mean, you
real-
can do anything with them.
Yeah, I've got death row now because one of my best friends in the world died this last year, and he worked for us, and he died about 2 months ago. And I got, matter of fact, Cedar Run, I got his decoy today. It's a Gadwall decoy.
Cool.
Oh, is that one in there?
Yeah, it's a Gadwall, and his ashes are. I haven't got his ashes yet. And then on the mantle in there, there's a wood duck. Ed that used to work for us. I put his decoy and I put his ashes in it today, and I'm going to have a shelf built. And I'm going to call it Death Row. And so they
Nice.
die. And someone I said that about a month ago on the podcast, and someone mailed me, that's terrible. It's just so insensitive. Bullshit. My fucking ashes are going to be in the same decoy on that same shelf one day. Hopefully, it's way, way down the road. But
Right.
that's where I'm going to end up being also.
Hell yeah.
And then if the boys one day want to sell the whole place and get rid of everything, they can.
That's a weird thing, and I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah, there's the mausoleum I was talking about.
The Rockefeller
one.
Mausoleum.
Lordy mercy.
My grandma, her husband died. They've been in the same house for 30 years. So she ended up a couple weeks ago. She moved to an apartment, and like she was kind of sad, but like it really hit me because it was like for 30 years she'd gone to the same house, getting ready for Christmases, Thanksgiving, grandkids' weddings, great grandkids being born. She went to the same plot of land, pulled into the same driveway, and then at how old is she? 70? How old is she?
73, 74 probably.
And like she'll never go back to that house again.
Yeah.
Like she's in an apartment now. And it's just like and then I was thinking about like, cause my grandfather, he's a farmer and like he's farming the same land that his dad did. And like none of his kids are gonna, cause they've all gone and got different careers and like none of them are gonna, so that's gonna be somebody else's land. And you know, a short amount of time, but like it's just weird to think about how many times throughout human history families have like planted their flag on a house or a piece of land. And it's like 200 years from now, somebody else is going to be excited that they've got this same little bitty patch of dirt that your family was excited about.
Man, that's crazy too, because, you know, I was never fortunate enough to actually, you know, have land, and land is so expensive. But, you know, like land that's been in the family history and family tradition, to get rid of that, you know, I've got a friend of mine that, you know, they've had 2,500 acres for over 100 years. Yeah. You know, and I asked him before, I was like, you know, are you going to sell that someday? And he's like, absolutely not. Right. We'll stay with it forever. But there's so many people that are willing to
But like his kids might not. Like, you know, you start getting grandkids and great-grandkids. It's like by the time, you know, my great-grandfather bought that, like by the time you get to my kids or my kids' kids, there's 40 of them or whatever. So it's like.
It's rough.
You know, it's just, it's not feasible.
Yeah. People lose a connection to something because
it wouldn't mean anything to my kids. They've never been out there.
Like my great grandfather owned a bunch of land, not a bunch of land. He owned some farms in Kansas. Well, through typical marriage, a stepmom along, you know, 100 years ago, she left the land to her kids and X'd out my dad's family. They didn't get any of it. And it was their dad's land. Right. You know, he married this lady, and then when she fucking rewrote their will after he died, she left everything to her daughter instead to my grandfather, whose grandpa, that was his dad's place. Ooh. So, and that shit happens all the time. Right. But let's say they still had that land. There's 1,000 acres in southeast Kansas. Well, I don't have no connection to that land. Right. I haven't been up there in 30 years hardly. But it still would be my great-grandfather's. It would be Stanfield family land. Well, I wouldn't have a connection to it. I've got a cousin that lives there, so maybe he would take it over. But so if someone come to me and they said, hey, there's some oil guys out here want to buy this place, and we're going to give you $10 million for that 1,000 acres because it's right by a lake, and it's pretty worth a lot of money probably. Well, fuck yeah, let's sell that son of a bitch. Yeah. I don't have no connection to it. I wouldn't want to do that, but that happens all the time. Right. I knew a ranch in New Mexico that was like a 30 or 40,000 acre place, and it was up in one of the Gila Mountains or something. And a guy contacted me 25 years ago. I'd been in the hunt business a couple of years. He come to me and he's like, hey, listen, we got a chance we could lease the hunting on that. Like, I ain't in New Mexico to hunt. Right. He goes, you come out here and see this. You get 10 elk tags. You can shoot 20 mule deer. You have turkeys. You got blah, blah, blah. It's got a house on it. There's trout fish and blah, blah, blah. I was like, man, so we put the pen and paper together, and I could sublease the land out and sell it, and we could make a little bit of money on the deal. Right. He just kept pushing me. I go, what is the deal? You could do the same thing. It's got to be a hunting outfitter to do it. And he goes, I got a friend of mine that knows you real well, and I trust you. I go, what's the big deal? He said, well, we get the first right to buy it. And he goes, the grandkids don't want the property. They want nothing to do with it. I said, well, what's something like that worth? He said, well, they probably, let's say $1 million. I don't remember all the details. I was like, I ain't got $1 million. Go to the bank and borrow it easy. He goes, we can sell water rights to the city of Las Cruces, New Mexico, and so, pay for itself in 5 years just on the water rights you sell to them. Well, anyways, the family caught on to this. People that don't acquire that much shit usually are pretty sharp anyway. Right. Yeah. They figured out, they were out of Chicago. They figured out that what the land was worth, and they didn't end up leasing it all out. But in the contract he wrote up, we would have the first right to purchase it for the next 20 years or something. Well, they didn't buy that shit. But
they nixed it quick.
But those they sold that property. Yeah. Those kids didn't have any connection to that land. It was their great-grandparents' land. It's a ranch they probably never even been to.
Right.
But you had talked about it. Like, you've been out here for 30 years, and you've seen farms change hands.
Lots of times.
Like, but it's just, when you think about, like, how proud that person was, like, to scrape up enough of whatever resources they had to be able to get that land, and, like, all of their dreams and hopes and wishes had come true at that moment, and then, like, you go far enough into time, and like that's somebody else's dream. Right. And it's just time has just been a weird thing for me lately. Kids are getting a little bit older. Kids went back to school, so that's always kind of a weird deal.
Yes.
Happy to see them go, but then again, you're like, you know, this thing is not stopping at all for anybody.
Man.
We have expiration dates on us. And as you get older, you realize it more.
Like, because when I went home, because I helped my grandmother move, and I went home and I was like, that's going to be me one day. Like, if it's not going to be me, it's going to be my wife. One of us is going to die first. Right. And it's like, up until like our house that we're in now, we've done everything. It's our first house. We brought our kids home to it when they were babies, dogs. We've had Christmases there. And it's just like, one day, it's not going to be ours anymore. It's going to be somebody else's, hopefully. But then, you know, get blown away in a tornado.
I got emotional at the wedding the other day.
Right. I mean, it's just, you know, it's a weird thing Time is.
Time, and time marches on, and it keeps going, and that song is true. And things that, we've got a dog buried out there that I love to death, and hell, he died 20 years ago. But
even out here, like, this will be somebody else's one day. It's sad to say. Like, I don't know when that day is going to be. Maybe my kids will sell it. Maybe it'll be their kids, or Jeff might sell it tomorrow. I don't know. But it's like, at some point, this is not going to be ours.
My dream is not going to be somebody else's dream.
Well, if you go far enough into the future, everything we've done out here is going to be gone. It's going to be somebody else's.
Yeah.
So
enjoy the moment while you can.
Yep. And it happens everywhere. I notice out here so much that, and this one really bothers me. I see them, they plow up these old homesteads here.
Yeah.
And they just make an extra 2 acres of land out of it. And I'm like, it had an old house in there and had a tree row and stuff. And I'm thinking, 70 years ago, even when I first started out here, there's some houses that people lived in now that have been just dilapidated. I don't understand people when you see this. Everywhere you go, when you drive in the country, you drive by, and especially when you get up further north, you see this beautiful 3,000 square foot home with a basement in it that was grandma's home that's just sat there, and instead of renting it out or doing anything, they've just let it sit till the roof falls in.
Yeah, just let it deteriorate.
And I'm thinking, why? It's worth more than that.
Right.
I understand you not wanting to sell it. Rent it to somebody and keep it at least viable.
Yeah.
When you said you have a friend in Rochester.
Yes.
Have you gone through O'Brien, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, so like as you're going outside of O'Brien, right as you get to the south side of town, it'll be like you'll know, because O'Brien's not but 100 yards long.
Right.
If you look on the right side of the road as you're going south, there's an old, big 2 or 3 story house. I mean, it's a mansion for out here, and it's fallen in. It's been empty for as long as I can remember. Nobody was in it when you were out here in the early 90s, were they?
No, hell no, that thing had been set for 10 years before that.
But I mean, you just see this, and like I've talked to my grandparents about it, and they're like, it was immaculate back in the day.
Yeah.
And it's fallen in.
But
it's where we used to go in high school to go, they're supposed to be haunted or whatever. But
yeah,
it's one of those typical deals, though, that was probably about greed. The family took off and went somewhere else. We're not letting anybody live in our house. We'll go back there one time. We'll go back there. And it just set and set and set. And, it eventually just falls in. And the sad thing is, there's no reason at the time that they could have kept that.
Right.
Financially, someone else would have bought that or done something with it.
Yeah.
Best thing happened to it now would be burned down before somebody gets killed in the damn thing.
I don't. High school kids don't go in there anymore. I graduated in 06. My wife graduated in 08, and Zach graduated in 11. And Zach said when he went in as a high school kid, it was sketchy. Going upstairs, there's 2 or 3 steps there that don't have steps anymore, and it's. So I don't even think.
I went in there with some pillars of our community one time after a party one night. We went out there about midnight, and I saw some pillars of our community, big school board guys at the time.
Yeah.
I saw one of them's wife go through the floor.
Oh, goodness.
And I grabbed my wife. I said, let's get the hell out of here. Somebody gets fucking hurt.
For real.
But you go upstairs, and there's notes. There's handwritten notes all over the place. There's pictures of the family, and it's just somebody just... It literally... When my mom graduated in the 80s, and she remembers going in high school, and she was like, it looked like somebody just left that house. There were clothes in the closet, dishes in the cupboards, furniture was still there. She was like, it was still pristine when I was in school. But it's just somebody just got up, all the memories they had, and just left.
Did you see where the old insane asylum in Wichita Falls, how that guy bought it?
The white one?
Yeah, he bought it and turned it into his home.
What?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Where they used to do all kinds of
over
weird
by the
torture.
Wayfair
and stuff?
Yep.
I couldn't do that.
Let me tell you about that.
Yeah.
In the 80s, we went in there one time.
That was one of the most haunted places in Wichita Falls.
That was a creepy... Wichita Falls has 2 creepy-ass places. That was one of them, and the old Witch's Gate.
Yes.
Used to be the Witch's Gate. Was really... but
what's Witch's Gate?
Would
I find it if I look for it?
Yeah.
It's an optical illusion. What it really is if you go to Hammond Road and you take a left on the dead-end road that goes back, and I think they have it fenced off now. You used to drive in down there, and when you would come back, it was an optical illusion. It looked like the gate was swinging shut on you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a video on TikTok. I'm going to try to...
Me and a buddy of mine played a trick on some chicks there one night. We met these girls, and they did not know us at all. And we went out with us. We went to the movies and shit. We were out drinking, and me and him had decided that we were going to fuck with these girls. So what we did was we drove out down that road, and we started arguing about the radio. I mean, really getting pissy acting. He wanted to listen to KLUR, I wanted to listen to QV 103 or whatever it was. Back and forth, just bantering and shit all the time. These girls did not know us. They had met us the night before.
Yeah.
and they were getting kind of nervous. He's like, "Fuck you, change it. Oh, just pull over." I said, "Yeah, fuck you, pull over." So I pulled over and jumped out. I had a 22 pistol old revolver under my seat, and I grabbed it, and I went pow pow, and he fucking just rolled over. It wasn't one of this dramatic. It was just rolled over.
Lordy mercy.
Got back in that truck, and you got to go down the end of the road and turn around. So these girls are fucking scared to death. And we had bought some California coolers. That's how long ago. I don't even know if you know what a California cooler was.
Is it
was
a wine
original?
cooler?
It was an original wine cooler, and they had these little foil on top, but they had pulp in the bottom. They had orange and lime, and you'd have to shake them a little bit and get the pulp up.
Yeah.
It was the original. That was before Bartles and James even. So
Have you been inside the old insane asylum?
yeah, hold on just a minute. Let me finish
I'm
this
sorry.
story.
I thought you were done.
So we drove to the end of the street, and these girls are fucking screaming. I mean, they're crying. They're just take us home, take us home.
They just witnessed a murder, man.
And they are sitting on the passenger side of my pickup, and they are sitting where half of a person would sit. I'm telling you, they're sitting in each other's laps, and they're scared. And I said, "No, we're going to go to the movies, and we're going to go to that party." Okay. I said, "No, we're going to have fun." "Oh, we're having fun." I said, "Well, drink up if you're having fun." And I'm telling you right now, I could hear these girls' teeth hitting these bottles while they were trying to drink. They were shaking so bad.
What an ass, bro.
So pulled up. He got up out of the ditch. They were not happy.
That is crazy.
They were pissed. Matter of fact,
That's funny as hell, though.
we went to McDonald's on Kemp Street, and they went in to go to the bathroom. We never seen them again. Yes, I've been into that insane asylum years and years ago.
You were?
Yeah, years ago.
Apparently, it's like really back in the day. It was really haunted.
It was creepy.
Yeah,
How could you make that your house though?
yeah. He lives in there, man. It's a big building too. Like
Yeah, it's 10,000 square foot building.
it's
Isn't it,
huge.
probably?
Yeah.
Like I mean, just thinking about all the crap that went down in there. Like, of course, it's got spirits that are
Yep.
There,
not ready to leave.
there used to be an old orphanage over. Do you know where Bonham Elementary was?
Mm-hmm.
On Army Road, they built another orphanage there, and I can't remember the name of it. But on the other side of that, there was an old county farm, and there's an old cemetery there. Behind Bonham Elementary, there's an old county. I guess it was the indigent. That's where they buried all the indigent people in Wichita Falls.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an old home there.
Oh wow.
And it was an old orphanage back in the day, and it's supposed to be creepy as shit.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, so I would have probably fifth, sixth, so probably 1978, 77, 78 in that time. That's where the haunted house was that old county farm building, and that was a creepy freaking old building.
Yeah.
And they had some outbuildings, and they would have horror movies and stuff. Like you'd pay $10 to get in the gate or $5, and you'd go in the haunted house, and you could go, and they'd have all these old horror movies from the 60s and 70s.
Right.
Just chopping heads off and blood everywhere.
That's cool.
But it was a different time.
Yeah. A buddy of mine when I was stationed up in Alaska, Mike, he actually has a show with the Travel Channel, and he got me into kind of ghost hunting when we were up there. And I thought he was kind of weird at first, man. I was like, because I believe in ghosts and I believe in spirits, but we worked together. He's a civilian, and we started doing he would bring his gear to work. All of his, what do they call them? That can hear the spirits through something grounds.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
Like
about.
the voice boxes.
Yeah,
type
the voice box. The
yeah,
voice
and we would
box.
set up cameras because we were in an old building, like on Fort Richardson, Alaska. I think the building was built in 1950, and I mean it was pretty old, maybe even older than that. But yeah, man, he got me into it, and he actually blew up. Like he's on the Travel Channel now, and he's doing really well. But yeah, that was kind of crazy though. I'm getting a little bit of goosebumps thinking about it.
I am not in on the ghost shit. I believe in ghosts. Remember, we got a lady going to be on this week that's into all this stuff. She's going to talk about a lot of it. And I am not into that shit because it gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I don't mind going to see Friday the 13th, the movie. Get a chainsaw and rip your heart out or something. I can handle that shit.
Stuff that's obviously fake.
Right.
But The Conjuring and shit like that, hell no. You're just opening up a can of worms there.
Same.
Okay, so I found the video. We were talking about stuff that people have lost. So this guy, he's on TikTok, and he collects rare books, and I don't know where he's out of, but he's got original copies of. Anyway, he's a really, really interesting dude. But he got an old World War I Bible.
Oh wow.
And from a soldier that was stationed over there, and thumbing through it, and he found this.
At the family treasures that are lost. Because when people sell books or give them away, they don't look inside. And that was the case with this family Bible. This letter was left inside, but it is spectacular, the contents. It is actually a letter written during World War One from the trenches on the day after Christmas. This is what the letter says. The war had just started the summer before, so it's the first Christmas. On Christmas Eve at about 4 o'clock, our guns were shelling the German trenches, but then stopped, and a little rifle fire was kept up until about 5 when it became dark. Now, this is when the Germans are fighting the English in the trenches in France. And when the shooting stopped, we began to sing carols and songs, and the Germans began to do the same. And after a bit, we put candles and lights on top of the trenches to cheer things up a bit, and carried on a sort of matey conversation with the enemy. As things seems to be going very well, we thought we may as well get on top. So 4 of us got out on top of the parapet and struck matches, which was received by a cheer from the other side. And so we all got out, and we held a concert and dance out in the open. And after this, a few of us thought it would be just as well to shake hands and exchange cigarettes, etc. with them. So we called them out and met a few of them halfway between the trenches. And they were jolly good sports, too. And on Christmas Day, we had a football out in front of the trenches and asked the Germans to send a team to play us. But either they thought the ground was too hard because it had been freezing all night, or their officers told them they couldn't. Anyhow, we had a chat that afternoon, and one of them produced a camera. And so we had a group photo, and there were 12 of us and 12 of the Germans. And we had Christmas dinner, and it wasn't the greatest, but it did consist of sausages, biscuits, and chocolates. And speaking of chocolate, it was awfully good of you to send that chocolate, which arrived safely and went down very well. And reflecting on it, Christmas Day in the trenches was a sort of ragtime war affair. And I think about the funniest thing I've ever struck. If you imagine by any chance that we had a rotten Christmas, I can assure you that you were very much mistaken. This is a treasure that some family in England left inside of this family Bible when it was sold. I will have more of these stories next time.
I've heard that story before.
Wow.
Not his story,
Right.
but I've heard that on Christmas Day
That's insane.
because that was war as hell. You've been there. We've never been to war. I'm not going to pretend I've ever been. I've never been in a situation like that. So I don't care if you're in Iraq, Iran, Pearl Harbor, the Philippines, wherever you're at. That trench warfare had to be one of the most rotten and miserable wars of all time.
100%. They were built different.
I mean,
100%.
Were they fighting 50 yards away, 100 yards away?
Man. Yeah.
It was just terrible. And
And then knowing like December 27th or whatever, like we're back at it.
That is so crazy.
war is horrible because it's a bunch of fucking politicians playing with someone else's lives. And the older I get, the more I realize that.
I don't know I don't know if World War I and World War II were. Like I really think, I don't know. You might be able to speak a little bit more on this.
World War II,
Was
we got drug in because of Pearl Harbor. We did our damnedest to stay out of the European theater for a long time. If it wasn't for the United States of America, everyone in France would still be speaking German. I don't give a shit who you are.
Yep.
It's a fucking truth. France is the world's greatest at losing fucking shit. We've kept their ass out of the deal. Not being a smart ass, but that's the fucking truth.
Yeah.
World War II, we had to defend ourselves after what Japan did to us, and then it just kind of escalated into World War. But that's when the war machine was brought up, and that's when it started. Since that day, we have never had a fucking war that we weren't dragged into by a shitty politician.
Yep.
Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, everyone is about making someone else a lot of fucking money. Same what's going on in Ukraine today.
Yeah. So unfortunate, man. Especially the thing with Afghanistan. It was so many lives lost
For nothing.
for nothing.
At all. Absolutely zero.
For nothing. And to pull out like that, and man,
Where all
this-
did you serve at?
I've been combat. I've been to Iraq a few times. I've been in Kuwait. I've never been to Afghanistan. Thank goodness. I wanted to go, but I've been pretty blessed. I didn't ever make it to Afghanistan, but I was in Iraq from 2007 to 2009 for 15 months. Came back, and yeah, it was I was young too. I think I was 22 at the time.
Nope.
Going to war.
Those battles like that, we're not fighting for a cause. We got all these stupid rules and shit. Just let them fucking. If you want we're over there. Let's fucking go clean the fucking
win.
slate and let's go home.
Do it tomorrow.
That's what the World War II's the last war that we did, and what do? We won that motherfucker.
Like, to me, and like Jeff said, I've never served, but I can't wrap my head around rules of engagement.
Yeah,
And
Like
that's
if
where
we're in a fight, if we're in a dog fight and we're here to win, let's fucking win. However we got to win, and like don't wait for him to shoot at me first.
and that's what they tell us.
Yeah.
And that's what's so crazy.
Wait until
about
you're
it.
engaged upon. Before
That's
you
the
do
dumbest
anything.
shit ever. It's like going to a football game. And this not even a close analogy. I'm just using this as an analogy, and I know it's completely different. But you're playing in a fight. Let's just sit back and let them do what they want to do. Then after that, we'll try to score a touchdown, maybe, or maybe try to fuck that shit. You're fucking in a war.
Yeah.
Go win the motherfucker. Go take them. In Korean War wouldn't have lasted but about this long if we'd have done what we wanted to do.
Yep.
But they wouldn't let them do it. Let's stop that parallel. No, fuck that shit. Drive the motherfuckers back to Moscow. If we're going to be in war, let's do this the right way. Now we're talking about election time's coming. So term limits, gay marriage, abortion. Now it's going to be we're going to withdraw all the troops out of the Middle East. You know what? I'm fine with that shit. I really am. Let's pull all of our shit over there. Let's never go back again. Let's not buy a fucking barrel of oil from them cocksuckers. Let's don't do shit. Let them all fight each other. I think there's a solution. I say we give every country in the Middle East nuclear weapons that shoot 2 miles. They'll blow them fuckers, some bitches, all up to hell. There won't be nothing left. Let them have it to themselves.
Yeah, man, and it's crazy, like especially in today's military. Like I tell people all the time, I'm so thankful and blessed that I'm almost done. You know, I got 9 months to retirement, and I mean the military has taken such great care of me and my family. You know, I'll retire at 20 years. I'll be 40 years old, and you know, I've started a new chapter of life now that I'm healthy physically and mentally by the grace of God. But man, our military today is basically a civilian workforce in uniform.
Right.
And you know, if we were to go to war right now, we're going to be in bad shape because these soldiers, these Marines, these airmen that they're bringing into the service aren't ready or trained or prepared for war.
We would do good at pushing buttons in
is
technology.
It is so politically driven, man, that, you know, the power of non-commissioned officers, the power of officers, like it's, I mean, in 20 years, the amount that it's changed to where I am just, like I said, I'm grateful for it. I love it. You know, I came in at a time of war to fight for my country, but man, I'm so ready to go on to bigger and better things. Like it's just, it's pathetic.
Even back in the day of World War II, you think about this, and I'm sure it happened in World War I, but you'd be in combat and you'd be in a platoon, and they'd send in some kid that just got out of West Point or the Air Force Academy. He ain't got no fucking military experience,
Right.
other than sitting in a classroom. You know, we don't have a lot of grunts anymore, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I want a bunch of grunt guys. If I get in a fight, that's who I want fighting for me. I don't want some fucker that graduated from the Air Force Academy that ain't got no, that never has done it, been in through anything. And I think most of your guys that go to them academies would tell you the same thing. They want some men that can fight.
100%.
And I don't know that we'll have I don't think we'll ever get into a battle, a combat battle, a big strung out war, because we can push buttons and do so much shit nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be boots on the ground, no matter what battle we're in. But, you know, you got air defense artillery, you got field artillery, and especially with Russia, you know, I mean, that's what, you know, we're sending so many air defense artillery battalions over there right now. But the actual hand-to-hand fighting combat, yeah, you don't see a whole lot of that anymore. And the reason for that, too, goes back to the rules of engagement, right? Like, no, I don't want to get started on that.
Imagine the Battle of the Bulge. Them guys
I don't want to
having
get started on that.
Imagine the Battle of the Bulge. The guys having to wait for them to shoot at them.
Yeah, because they want us to play by the rules,
Right.
but the enemy doesn't have to.
No, they don't have any
Like
rules.
how is that even fair?
Right.
You gotta play by these certain set of rules, but the enemy doesn't.
But who made those rules up?
So why are you giving them an advantage? Do you want to win or do you not want to win?
But who made the rules up? Politicians.
Oh, 100%.
And them motherfuckers don't have no clue what's going on.
100%.
Let me ask you a question. You don't have to answer it because it's going to be a tough one, though. Ukraine deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nothing but money laundering. I don't think there's nothing about that but laundering money. There's no reason to have spent them billions and billions and billions of fucking dollars.
I mean, we just found out that Hunter Biden is tied to Ukraine
Yes.
and China.
I personally, this may sound bad, I don't give two fucks about Ukraine. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I feel sorry for the innocent people that are there.
True.
I feel terrible. I also feel sorry for the innocent Russian civilians that live there.
Yeah.
Both sides.
But you've seen the videos coming out of Kyiv.
I don't think there's.
They're
I think
partying.
It's a money deal.
There's
100%.
And I'm going to say something else that's probably going to piss some people off, but I don't care. I don't know Putin's the bad guy in this deal. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that Putin's a bad guy here. And I understand you can't probably talk about
Exactly. In 9 months, I'll answer that question for you.
And you're going to answer
still-
it. You're going to answer exactly what I think you're probably going to answer it.
Yes, sir.
And I think most people feel that way.
Yeah.
I think Ukraine is nothing more than a distraction from child sex trafficking and money laundering. That's it.
Isn't it funny how the agenda changes all the time? Mm-hmm. Whenever things starts, whenever important issues start getting brought up.
Yep.
Well, let's throw this war in there to get the attention.
Exactly. And that's all this is about.
100%.
And we all know it, but American citizens are fucking sheep. We're the biggest pussies in the world. We make the Frenchmen look like fucking the biggest bald son of bitches in the world because we put up with this shit all the time.
Yeah.
We let them fuckers, and it ain't just a Democratic deal. I'm not a Democrat by any means at all. And I'm not much of a Republican either. I'm a Donald Trump guy because I think he actually cares about America.
Yeah.
But we let both sides play us like fucking fools all the time. And we've continued to do that forever. And what gets me is the generals in our military are a bunch of fucking pussy sellouts too. Where's the real military end? Is it about a captain or a major where you lose it and it's all politics after that?
I think after captain and you go into major and then lieutenant colonel, I guess it just depends. But I know, as a company commander, as a commander of a full company, you're for your troops, you're for the mission, and then after company commander, you go to major if you're at a battalion or whatnot, and then lieutenant colonel even is, I don't know.
You start losing it somewhere.
You do. Oh, 100%.
And they quit
100%.
doing what's best for their troops.
Well, but that's also that's a difficult line to toe, isn't it? Because when you have your company and you're in charge of them, you're only worried about their safety. Whereas you start going up in the ranks and then you got to start looking at bigger pictures.
Yep.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
But, so
a
that's
company,
a tough line to draw.
like for instance, the company that I'm in now, my commander is probably in charge of, let's just say 70 to 80 soldiers.
Right.
And then after that, he'll go to battalion commander, and then they've got like 200. And then you go to brigade, and then you're looking at 500 plus. And then after that's whenever you start getting into the hierarchy of political, working for the Pentagon and things like that.
But you had guys like Admiral Nimitz. He was for his people. Patton was a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to fucking lose at anything. And the whole world would be red, white, and blue if he'd have been in fucking
100%.
charge. There's no doubt about it. He was going to go through and tear somebody's ass up.
Yeah.
We don't have guys like that no more at all. None of these guys up there that they talk, woke military. I'd be laughing my ass off if I lived in another country and it's okay to wear high heels and pumps.
Man, let me tell you something. Let me tell you a story. So the transgender thing came about, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, I think, to where we have to go through mandatory transgender training now in the military.
Oh, Jesus.
And
Why?
because we can't hurt anybody's feelings. Everybody's got to be equal. And so, the other day, I work out at the Fires gym there on Fort Sill, and the craziest thing happens. I walk into the men's locker room after I get a workout in, and I walk in, and there is I'm guessing female, but she had her shirt off and 2 large female breasts in the men's locker room.
Uh-oh.
And
Nice tits or not good ones?
They were decent.
Okay.
Yeah, they were decent. But I had to double take because I literally thought that I was like
In the wrong spot.
that, or I was like, did I just see that? And I wasn't being a creep, but I
Right.
had to double take to be like,
Right. What's going on? Am I in the right spot?
there is a female in the men's locker room naked because she identifies as a man. 9 months.
9 months.
But see, that's absolutely fucking crazy. I watch a lot of old TV because I don't like anything new on TV hardly at all. I like old movies. I mean, and I'm not talking just military movies. I'm talking about I'll watch Gator or some shit from the 73, 74. I love because I like seeing old things and how they were and just how simple life was.
Right.
And I watch old movies. And none of this shit going on today would even, there's no way in hell people would have thought much of it back then. I mean, they would have been like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I can't imagine an old general back in the day hearing about this chick showering in there. You know what he's going to say? So she can get her ass fucked off if she don't know what she's doing. Am I right? That's exactly what someone would have said. Yeah. And if it happened, damn, what's she doing taking her fucking clothes off a bunch of soldiers?
Yeah.
I mean, but nowadays we're supposed to bend up. And it's people like fucking Obama and them that think this is okay, or that sell out George Bush. They think this is good. It's not good. There's nothing good about it at all. there's a place for women and there's a place for men. I don't give a shit if you're a woman and you want to be a truck driver, you want to be a fighter pilot. I don't care what you do. I'm not a sexist at all on that shit.
Right.
At all. Do whatever you think you can do. But you're a woman. You're not as strong as a man. You're not as tough as a man. Hate to tell you this, but that's the truth. If you go to battle and you've got a 140-pound woman and she's Ronda Rousey and she's a tough bitch, but she's got to go fight a guy from Russia and he weighs 190 pounds, he's going to whip her ass with the same training.
Yeah.
It's just they're different people.
Yeah.
But that's acceptable. That's great. Now, if you'd have went in the women's locker room, what would happen to you?
Oh, man. I would have had a sexual harassment charge all over me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like arrested, retirement taken. But
For just going in the locker room. What if you'd have pulled and said, I identify as a woman now?
I don't know. I'm not going to go there.
Have you seen the movie that... what's the guy's name that plays on King of Queens? The dickhead. Kevin James.
Yeah.
Kevin James and Adam Sandler did a movie where they were Bob and Larry or somebody.
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Chuck
Chuck and Larry.
Yeah.
And they fucking had to get married because of the insurance deal.
Right.
It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
if you made that movie nowadays, they would fucking shut that off because
Oh,
it
yeah.
would hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
And it was a great show. It was funny.
It's crazy. And, back to what you were saying is, you sign the dotted line to go and fight your nation's wars. Right.
Right.
You don't go to the military. Well, back in the day, now they're going just for college and this and that. But, whenever you go to the military, you're signing your life away to go fight for your country. And, they're supposed to build us into, I don't want to say killing machines, but train for combat.
what your life is
right?
about.
And so, it's insane, the political correctness that's why I was saying earlier, man, like we're going to be in bad spot if we have to go put boots on the ground, because I'm telling you right now, I'm going AWOL. If they're going to send me with a bunch of these guys right now, I'll be like, I ain't going with you.
Right.
I would call some of my buddies in that I used to serve with, that I've been to combat with. Hey, let's go. But most of these troops these days, man, they're not ready for it.
You go to these other countries, and I saw a deal, and they were talking about Sweden's GDP or Netherlands or somewhere, like they only spend 2% of their deal on the military. Yeah, because they know if something happens, the United States of fucking America is going to take up for them.
Yep.
That's what all of Russia's, or the European, the whole theater, the whole European group over there, same way. They know the United States has their back.
Yep.
Well, the people there, their taxes are this. Yeah, because they don't spend money on their military.
Well, they'd be surprised.
But that's because the United States has their ass.
Yeah.
We protect them.
Right.
Every one of them. The whole world depends on the United States, be its police force.
Well,
and we got a bunch of fucking dipshits running it now that couldn't protect shit.
But like that's basically all NATO countries, isn't it? Like
Yes.
I'm looking at them here. It's
I bet the
United
UK.
States, UK. I'll pull this up.
What's the percentage? Because that's what Trump said. He said, we're fucking going to out of this shit. We need Trump back bad. And his idea was right. If you don't want to pay your fair share, then we're not protecting your ass.
I agree.
It goes to
100%.
percentage of your GTP or GDP. Like Luxembourg, little old fucking country. Well, their GDP is small, so but you want you to have your ass protected, you got to pay something.
You might not. It's kind of hard to see.
3.6% of our GDP by the United States we pay.
And then you get down here to Luxembourg, like you said. I don't know what that 288 is by Luxembourg.
That's the billions of dollars that their GDP is worth. Percentage of, I can't read
That's
the
in
top
millions.
line.
That's in millions.
So $288 million, but they're supposed to all pay the same percentage. Like the percentage is whatever the U.S. pays, 3.6.
Yeah.
Every one of them is supposed to pay 3.6. Look at our Canadian buddies right there, boy. They're right in the middle of it. They're paying
1.1.
1.1.
21 mil, or wouldn't that be 21 million, or would that be 2 billion?
I'm sure that's $2 billion is their Now their GDP's got to be higher than $2 billion.
That says in millions up here, right there. It's hard to see.
Yeah, in 2017, that's what it was.
In millions.
In millions.
So is that 21 million?
No.
Like are we paying 685 million to NATO?
Probably so.
Okay, so then that is right. So then
Yeah.
Canada's paying 21 million.
Okay. But you take the United
That's
States
insane.
and you put us at the same route they are. Well, they ought to just quit calling it fucking NATO and just call it the United States.
For real.
Because that's the ones that's paying for all the bills.
Yep.
Yeah, but during World War II, there was an equal share of forces. Nobody got hit harder. You know what country? I'm going to ask y'all this trivia question. Which country lost the most soldiers in World War II?
Russia. No, that was
It's Russia.
it is right because I thought
Russia
Robert Kennedy,
and China was second.
Kennedy, who I'm a big Kennedy guy. I'm sure he's going to put his pecker in his foot or his foot.
He
in his
kind of
mouth.
did on his abortion.
I've not heard
stance.
that until I hear it from his mouth.
Okay.
But yes, I read an article that said he was for late term abortion, which I am not. But be that as it may, he said basically Russia was decimated from what would be New York to Chicago, a wasteland. And he was like, you know, how would we feel if that happened in America and we lost all of these kids? Like, we might have some of the same thoughts that Russia has.
I think they lost 20 million people. I think.
I can't remember, but
China was second.
The only thing we've ever experienced like that was 9/11.
Yeah.
You know
Very
what I mean?
small portion.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
you take the family in 1955 who got the letter, or the guy comes in the old, you know, if you saw that fucking star in that car and he come pulling up, you fucking threw up on yourself because you knew your kid got passed away.
Yep.
Would we lose 500,000 people during World War II? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that was terrible, terrible. But we didn't do nothing like what happened over there.
26.6 million Russians died in World War II.
26.6 million. That is New York City and Chicago together. The whole thing gone. Those two towns, the city's completely gone it all the way. Nobody
crazy.
there. What did the United States lose? 500,000?
I can find it.
I just had read something on it that I was reading a book and they were talking about how the deaths and just. I think we lost more than France did.
Yeah, right at about 500,000.
What does it say? What France lost?
UK lost more than us. So according to this, we lost 418,000. The UK lost 450. Yugoslavia 1 million. But it's not giving me France. I can look at it.
How many do we lose in Afghanistan?
20,000.
We looked at
I was
that.
thinking like more.
We looked at that the other.
20.
It said France lost over 500,000 people. In Afghanistan.
Imagine if America would have turned its back on England. If it wasn't for England, we wouldn't have been in the middle of that stuff.
Yeah.
Turned our back on England and the whole thing let it go like that. The whole place would still be Germany.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be right.
What is it?
This says 2,400 people, but that
And where? In Afghanistan?
in the war in Afghanistan
No,
for
I think we lost
2000.
more than that.
That's way
Yeah,
more than
it's
that.
20 something.
I thought it was 20,000
Yeah.
people somewhere around there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, right here it says right at 20,000, 2,713. So a little under 21,000.
Mm.
But still, I mean, that's a lot of kids. That's
Fighting
a
Bush's
lot-
war.
That's a lot of families. That
Weapons of mass destruction.
And I'm going to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
right.
I was 100% with Bush on all that shit until about 206, about 2006. I kind of, because I remember me, Dad, and Tony got in some pretty good heated arguments in this office. I was like, fucking bring everybody home. I said, this is a bullshit deal. We're fighting a fucking stupid ass war. And I said, I'm fucking out on George Bush. And boy, my dad used to get mad all the time at me. I'm telling you right now, it's fugazi as shit around there. We're fighting a war we don't need to be fighting. Let's bring everybody home. I would not have done it the way fucking Biden done it. I'd have brought everybody home, but I'd have torched the whole every fucking thing we had over there, and I'd do it today.
Yeah.
Syria, Iraq, Iran, blah blah blah. Let them have it.
Yeah.
But blow up all of our equipment. Don't leave nothing there, and get my shit and bring everybody home.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is all the people that have helped us over there that are allies. You're turning back. I would like to know the percentage, and it would make us all sick, to the people that helped us in Afghanistan that have been left over there. How many of them are still alive?
Yeah.
They've tortured and killed every one of those people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But what is a good way of pulling out? I mean, because like, you know, you look at something, you're like, well, we've been over there for a decade.
Shit, we've been over there since 1980 when the
I
Russians were
understand.
fighting.
Right, I understand that. But like, you get to 2011 and it's like, well, we've been over here since 2001. Like, you hate for all that to kind of be for naught.
I don't.
Right.
You can't change the mindset of those people. Those people hate Christians. Newsflash there: if the people don't realize that, Muslims don't like Christians.
Yeah.
You may have a nice mosque on your corner, you think, but down below they're thinking about blowing your fucking ass up.
Yep.
That is the way that religion is. They don't.
Well, they're savages.
They
are.
That's their whole way of doing it. People get all upset over that shit. There are some nice. I have a Muslim guys that hunt with me every year that own a bunch of fucking convenience stores in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Super nice guy.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to fucking have him with the AR-15 behind my back.
Right.
Just don't happen.
AK-47.
Whatever the fuck he's gonna.
Well,
shoot.
they have. Well, now they got a bunch of ARs.
Oh, they do?
But
Well,
whatever.
Afghanistan, we
Yeah.
left so much,
Oh,
so much equipment back
But-
there, man. Like,
But I don't trust them. The whole that whole religion, I don't trust.
Yeah.
You know, I don't now. When I see them, I don't want to go blow them up or nothing. I don't have that. I don't hate them. I just don't trust them.
Man,
But they want to do that to me.
Yeah.
You mean what's funny is the Democrats jump on, oh, we gotta be there for the Muslims. They're the same ones that's throwing gay people off the buildings in Fallujah, you know.
Yep.
So which are the gay people with the Democrats or are they with the Muslims? Because that don't mix at all.
Yeah.
You know, you think you don't have equal rights here and you want a gay parade? You show me that gay parade in fucking Saudi Arabia.
I need to bring I'm gonna fly a Marine down this deer season. His name is Zach Finicon. He's out of North Carolina. He lost his arm in the Battle of Fallujah, and we're gonna bring him down and put him on a hunt. And I'd like to hear his take on it. He'd probably give you some 2 cents on how he feels about the whole thing as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
like
it's all the blood we've lost over there, all the young men we've had pass away and young ladies over there.
Yep.
Let them have the motherfucker. They've been fighting. Thomas Jefferson wrote a book in 1785 or something, and he wrote an excerpt of his book. He talks about the Barbary Coast. A lot of people don't know what the Barbary Coast is. Barbary Coast is the same place I'm going to be off on where exactly the Barbary Coast is because it's not the same place in Somalia is, but it's somewhere on the African deal. And back then, they would fucking kidnap and take and pillage and rape and shit.
Yeah.
Things haven't changed over there a bit.
Yeah.
They've just got newer shit. But they've been killing and massacring for years over there. It's not going to change. Let them fucking have that deal.
Yeah.
You know, let them sell oil to each other. You know, I've never been to Abu Dhabi, but I think it would be a pretty cool place to visit.
Yeah.
I would love to see the where they built the islands and stuff. I think that's amazing engineering and stuff. But they're one conflict away from the wrong prince being in charge.
Yeah.
They're funneling money to terrorists.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I know Qatar's nice. I got to go to Qatar in 2011.
people stink.
Beautiful.
Do
Do
they
they?
stink? That's a yes. I've heard it smells horrible.
Some places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine that was on embassy duty over there. He worked for Black Rock, whoever the fuck it is. And he was a CIA. I think he worked for the CIA basically as a contractor after that. And he worked in the embassies in a couple of them places. He said, "Man, you see the most beautiful woman in the world walk by," and he said, "Oof, smell like a goat's ass." He says, "Terrible."
What do they have like as far as like infrastructure over there? Like over here, you got CVS. You know, you got like women
To
can
buy soap.
well they can they can take care of themselves when that time of the month comes up. Do
Right.
they have shit like that to get like tampons and feminine hygiene products?
Yeah, the bigger cities, they have all kinds of shops that are still standing. They have being in a third world country is different, man.
Yeah.
It makes you really appreciate living in America, even though like I'm not as proud to be an American as I used to be. I'm always going to be proud, but with the country and the way it's going, it's you know what I mean. It's kind of
We are a laughing stock of the world.
I'm almost like, hey, let's move to like Australia or something. I don't know. I got to
You can't
find
do
some.
that either. I don't think that there's any more safe places because I
Yeah.
used to be like you, like Canada's fucked up, Australia's fucked up now. Like
Alaska was cool. Maybe I'll just go back to Alaska.
Just go back to Alaska
Yeah.
and like just
Live off the
live in the
grid.
bush.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna go that far. Up there
What's
to mess
funny
with
is
you.
all the countries outside the world, their news agencies know we got fucked up, rigged up election. Everybody knows
Oh,
it
yeah.
except for the fucking people here.
Yeah, and they know they do.
No, they know, but they don't
right,
talk about it.
Right. But I can't remember where we were going back.
So
to
you could
there.
buy soap and water and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
They
they
just don't use it.
Do they have?
Man, you don't ever shake a man's right hand either.
It's because he wipes his ass with his hand.
Yeah.
I thought it was the left hand. Which hand? I know there's a hand, but that might be China though, because we have a lot of friends that do business over in China, and like he said, you meet these people and they bring you to dinner, but like when you go to their house, tables on the floor basically, you got
Yeah.
pillows you sit on, and I think the left hand. He's
I
like,
gotta-
one of the hands you never bring up above here.
Yeah, I got to show y'all some pictures sometime. But I was with 89th MP Brigade out of Fort Hood when we went over there in 07, and one of the platoon leaders, he was a really good friend of mine, and I was a young kid, and he used to take me because like we would go in bed with the Iraqi police stations, and so we would go to the Iraqi police stations, the commissioner's house, or we would train the Iraqi police and the Iraqi army. And so I kind of like got VIP treatment when I would go with the platoon leader, man. And we'd go in there and they'd sit us down and they'd feed us all this really good food. I don't know if it was really good,
You hungry?
but the falafel bread and their goat, but we never ate the catfish or the fish out of the Tigris and Euphrates because that was just disgusting.
That's where everybody goes to the bathroom, right?
Yes. It was just like, they were like, don't eat the fish. And I'm like, okay. But I mean, they treated us like, like kings, man. And it was really cool. But it was crazy because we'd be training them one day, and then the next day, their day off, they're shooting at us. And so, like, it was
Why?
just,
Like, how's that work?
Because they're Muslims.
well, they worked for, Al Qaeda at the time. Like, even though they're Iraqi army and Iraqi police officers, you couldn't trust anybody.
Oh.
You couldn't trust anybody.
So even the guys you were over there training, they were probably going to flip and
100%.
wow.
Yeah.
Their whole religion is to kill you.
Yeah.
You're the infidel.
Yeah. And so we're over there giving them all of our tactics and training techniques. And then, on their day off, they're back using what we just trained them against us.
See, that's the shit in World War II wouldn't happen. You'd have blown the motherfuckers up and been the end
Yeah.
of it. And that's
Yeah, but we had people over that, like German soldiers, wouldn't we? Like, wouldn't we? And I don't think we were training them, but like we were using them as like our
There's
spies,
always been
right?
always been a Benedict Arnold's in every group. We still have them, but
Right.
the
But
thing
that's what
is,
I'm trying to comprehend with that story is like.
well, we weren't
they were-
training German police officers, and then on their day off, they were still fighting the deal. I
right.
mean, it's stupid fucking rules of engagement
But,
shit.
but
Just-
whenever they're like, okay, you're going to train these people, is the assumption that they're on our side now?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But in
Everybody
reality,
knew
they're
it.
Know
not.
that they're not.
and everybody knew it, but the fucking big brass in Washington D.C.
Oh, they knew it too.
but
So
they
what
don't give a
They
shit.
knew it
happens?
too.
What happens? Like you're training them, and then a week later you catch him on the battlefield. Like, how do y'all handle him
We
if you
put-
don't kill him?
We put 2 in the heart and 1 in the mind.
You do.
Yep.
Just like that.
You have
We
to.
win the hearts and minds of the people.
What did
2 in the heart, 1 in the mind.
I'm gonna ask something I've never asked anyone about over there. In World War II, everywhere, Vietnam, Korea, it was all normal deal. Whorehouses. You never hear about that in Iraq and Iran. Do they not have them?
I don't know, man.
See, that's the answer. That's a no then, probably.
I didn't. We never came across any.
But if you talk to any
I'm
soldier
sure-
that was in Vietnam,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Korea,
Yeah.
and I'm sure
Well, they had a little bit more like freedom to move around the cities and stuff. It wasn't, like where in Iraq and Afghanistan, every city's a major danger zone.
yeah, snipers
mean?
and shit.
Yeah,
those
so-
people were happy most places you went there because you
Right.
were freeing them from the oppression of
Right.
the
100%
leadership.
Whereas in Vietnam, you had areas that were safer, that guys were walking around without their firearms and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are.
We
I know there's a lot in Germany.
we watched a documentary one time, and I can't remember if it was called Fallujah or not, but it was an actual Netflix documentary. It wasn't like actors; it was real. And they were with some guys, and they were in an old hotel, like an American hotel, the Hotel Zone or some shit. And they would go and they would try to take a block a day away, try to get it back or whatever it was. But they were constantly under duress the whole time. And I thought, fuck, how could you live that way? I mean, you move around a corner as little kid brings up and he's got a goat and he's got a fucking vest on.
Yeah.
And it's the shit all the fucking time, just a constant battle.
Back to what I was saying, the rules of engagement too.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing is at least with Russia and Ukraine, they're at least in uniform now.
Right.
Which is really kind of unheard of in today's, battles. But at least you can somewhat identify the enemy. And of course there's spies and undercover or whatnot, but like you're saying, a kid, even women, man, like you just don't know. It's crazy.
So is there a maximum amount of time that you can spend over there?
So back in the day, we were doing 15-month deployments. 15 months. Yeah. And I know, and that was 07. And I think back in 01, whenever the war first kicked off, a lot of guys were over there for a couple of years at a time. But then, the DOD came in and said, hey, we're going to do 15 months. You can't do more than 15 months. And then you had what we call dwell time. So you get back from deployment, and then you're going to have a year off before you have to go right back. And at that time, Fort Hood was a rapid deployment base. So thank goodness I got out of there. But, a lot of my buddies that ended up staying is they would go 15 months, back for a year, back 15 months, back and back. I mean, they hit, double-digit deployments. And I was super thankful. I mean, I wish I could have been there with them, but, God has his plan for me, and I guess that wasn't in my plan. But now, and then so after the 15, they went to 12. You couldn't do more than 12. 15 was long.
Yeah.
12 is long. And then now it's 9. So they're dwindling down because that's a long time away. And, those situations are just so stressful. And then, we can get to this later, but the suicide rate, the mental drain and especially with the, guys that have multiple rapid deployments. And that's what's kind of led us to the 22 soldiers a day taking their lives. Well, veterans. So,
and one thing that I've always wondered, and I've asked several guys, why we didn't see the PTSD in the guys that came back from like World War II.
Mm-hmm.
But what you just said kind of made more sense, because when they were in World War II, they were fighting other soldiers that were in uniform.
Mm-hmm.
When you were over there, you didn't know who the bad guy was, because everybody looks the same.
Right.
It's just a bunch of infidels, a bunch of savages running around.
Mm-hmm.
And, for them, maybe the reason they didn't, and I'm sure they battled PTSD, but maybe the reason that we haven't heard about it is because they had a mission. They had an enemy, and he was wearing a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
With you guys, you don't know who the enemy is over there.
You imagine
So
Patton.
if you don't know who the enemy is, everybody becomes the enemy.
So
in your mind.
One town over there. We've been fighting in the same fucking towns for 10, 15, 20 years. You imagine if you come back to Patton today and said, listen, we've been fighting for this town for 20 years. You'd be like, 20 fucking years? You should have that some bitch taken off in 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because back in the day, we would have rolled through there and decimated everything and cleaned it up, and we'd been done with it.
Yeah,
But the
war
enemy,
was war.
but the enemy stood out. The enemy was easier to
Right.
find in Patton's day. Patton's war.
No, the enemy's there. We were blind to them. We pretend they're not there.
But back to the back to the World War II, they had PTSD.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just that back then you didn't talk about it,
Right.
And it's been like that in the military since then, probably until the last 10 years. Because I know in 08, I think it was 08 or 09. It was 09 when I had came back and I had lost one of my really good friends over there, and then my brother had died right after that. I was a young kid, and so I was out of control, right? I coped with alcohol, and I didn't even know what depression was. Of course, I knew what the word was, but I didn't know what depression was back then. And after being in Iraq, losing one of my very good friends, losing my brother, it hit me, and I was a basket case. So my wife, she was like, "You need to go get some help," and I was like, with what? She was like, "You need to go see a doctor." And I was like, okay. So I went to behavioral health, mental health, whatever you want to call it. And this, 09, for the first time I was diagnosed with PTSD, depression, anxiety. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle. And even in 09, that was held against me, fear of reprisal, right? So I was passed for promotion in 2009. Because my first sergeant said, "Oh, you're not mentally capable enough to take the next rank of staff sergeant. You're going to behavioral health." Now, if they were to do that, they would be relieved of duty.
Right.
But back then, 15 years ago, that was okay. It's the stigma, and thank goodness the military's gotten better at it, but they're still lacking in so many areas, man. It's crazy.
I'm sure during World War II, there was as much PTSD there is percentage-wise, but nobody knew about it.
Nobody talked about it.
My grandfathers both were at Pearl Harbor, and one of my grandpas would talk. My other grandpa, I don't remember him ever really talking about it. He was proud he was in the Navy, but never, ever, matter of fact, it's on his tombstone, never really mentioned much about it. My other grandfather would talk to me about stuff, and he told me about being on the boat, and he would tell me about crossing the equator and about all the shit they did, and he told me it's funny. He said when you'd watch a war movie, you got these guys on their uniforms. He said if you was on a boat back then, everybody was running around their fucking skivvies. It's fucking hot, 110 degrees and no wind. And
Right.
some folks wearing their underwear. Just wear your underwear. And you
Birthday
jump,
suit.
they'd swim in the water and
Yeah.
shit. I mean, but Michelle's grandfather, he was in Europe, and he was at the Battle of the Bulge and all that stuff. He had PTSD. He would scream at night, and he had tremors.
It was later when he was closer to death, or because
even when
they put
she
him
was
in a
little,
home.
but even when he was, but when she was little,
Oh.
before he went in a home, he had problems and issues with it because he never could escape that, But you didn't talk about it. You just you went on down the road. But Michelle said he was never. They always, she didn't know him before he went to World War II. She wasn't even around. Hell, her mom wasn't here. But she said the people that knew him said he was completely different. Which war would change anyone?
100%.
You can't see that. Just like a paramedic or somebody like that. If you're around that trauma. That's what police always gets me with people give police a bad rap. that cop might have been an asshole on that traffic stop, but you don't know what he just fucking seen an hour before that.
I think first responders don't get the credit they deserve.
No.
Man, when I was in Alaska, I went to another PTSD treatment program. It was called Soldier's Heart. And the cool thing about that was it was not only veterans and military members, but it was also the Alaska Highway Patrol, the Alaska Police, the Alaska firefighters. And, you know, I've always backed the blue and I've always wanted to be a police officer. But, you know, just hearing, and you know they go through stuff, but being in with a group of men and women for a week and hearing the stuff that they have to deal with on a daily, like, you know, they don't get the credit they deserve. You know, the military, yeah, we've been at war. We're not really at war very much anymore. But, you know, I think first responders are definitely underappreciated. And so what I want to do also is the Fallen Outdoors is only veteran specific, but I have my own a little side LLC called Big Bear's Wild Adventures. And I want to start doing some first responder hunts because, you know, I give back to veterans all day, every day. And that's what our mission is at TFO. But, you know, I want to start doing some stuff for these guys because, man, they go through hell.
Well, you've heard it was this right here. So in Ohio, this guy right here shot his 7, 4, and 3-year-old sons execution style in front of his mother. Cops had to respond to that. He's sitting on the front porch when they get there. Cops had to go to that call, and then they had to carry on with their day after that call. Mm-hmm. And there's 3 little boys, 7, 4, and 3, in the living room that he just shot the back of their heads off with a hunting rifle. Mm. And I think he did it in front of their mother, and I think he let the daughter live. But cops had to respond, and cops had to carry on with their day.
Yeah, we'll go to the next call. Just a routine traffic stop.
Yeah.
The guy was an asshole to me because I ran a stop sign. He wrote me a ticket.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because what he just seen. That's a shit that they go. Ambulance guy, same way. A paramedic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, paramedic had to go
make
do
that call.
this.
Yep.
And you wonder why these guys
got
have
goosebumps.
Yeah. But we have become that. Everybody expects them to be numb to this. And let's be honest with you. You're a homicide detective in Dallas, Memphis, Chicago, wherever the fuck you are. You're dealing. We'll south side of Chicago right now. That homicide guy right there deals with a young teen black man that is shot every single day. Not once a week. Every day they have a young black man that gets shot. Every single day. He's got to deal with that shit. And then he goes home to his own family and he's coaching his kid, 14 years old, and he deals with his kids and their friends, and he's thinking every day, that could be one of them. Mm-hmm. And they deal with shit like that all the time. Or you go to a wreck, like you said, with a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, you have to deal with this shit every single day, and they wonder why cops are in bad moods. And they always want to ostracize the cops as being bad. And then when they don't deal with shit like this, they deal with somebody that lies to them.
Yeah.
How often do you think a cop gets lied to a day? if he goes on 20 calls a day, he's getting lied to at 10 calls.
Yeah.
At
Easy.
least.
Yes.
At
Easy.
least. I bet it's more
But
than that.
that goes back to the whole like stigma of behavioral health because I have several really close friends that are police officers, and I've talked to them before about that. And you know, especially if you're a cop, if you tell your supervisor, "Hey, I've got some trauma.
Yeah.
I need to get help." Like, okay, well, guess what? We're putting you on the sidelines for a while,
Right.
Because you know we're not going to let you do your job, what you love most, because you're unstable, and that's why you know the military the same way, and that's why I've always since I'm just trying to advocate for the stigma of men seeking mental health, seeking treatment, because it's so frowned upon, man. And you don't even have to be in war or be a first responder to have it. Like, it's just back to the World War II. Those guys, man, they definitely had it. Mm-hmm. But if you were to bring it up, you were looked as weak. Right. You were looked at as weak. Like, oh, man. And back then, men were built different. They were actual men.
Yeah.
We don't talk about our feelings. We just deal with it. And, it's sad.
And that was another thing is they didn't have the infrastructure. They didn't have
any of the resources.
When they got home, it was you got a family. If you had a family, and you got to just carry on with life.
Yeah, they had no resources whatsoever to help them heal.
It's a special person that can compartmentalize. That's the word I'm looking for. Bad things and store them on their mind and not deal with it.
Yeah,
like it takes a special guy to be an ambulance guy and go into a car wreck where a kid gets killed and to just go about it's it's hard to do that for anybody.
Yeah.
But those people that done that every day, and there's not a soldier out there that didn't lose someone in battle with them that was in a battle. Like at World War II, there wasn't a guy coming back from World War II that didn't lose a friend.
Yeah.
But did anybody ever tell you like how to pick up the pieces, like with some of the stuff that you see? Like we've got, I do jujitsu, and the guy that runs our jujitsu class, he is a paramedic. He's been a paramedic for 15, 20 years or something like that. But that was, he recognized early that I need something. He's a black belt in jujitsu, and that's where he focused that part of his life.
Yeah, and those type of individuals that I guess are self-aware enough. It took me a lot longer.
Right. But what I'm asking is there anything to where they're like, you're gonna need something? Like, is anybody telling you that as a 22-year-old kid that's gone over there and seen some of that stuff?
No.
Nothing.
No. You have very few leaders in the military that are, for one, self-aware enough to know that troops are struggling.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this, but I've used my, I don't know if you want to call it testimony, but my life to help a lot of these young kids, because I can recognize when someone's hurting. You can't always, and that's what comes back down. A lot of these guys suffer in silence. Thank God that the military is now getting, I guess, more, not more aware, but they're making mental health more known, right? And you're not, you can't go for fear of reprisal. Like they're pushing it toward 10, 12 years ago. It was used against you. And that's the thing too with these veterans that have gotten out years ago. I'm trying to spread the message and the awareness that if you're a veteran, you have so many resources to help you. Like you don't have to be retired as long as you're, honorably discharged and you weren't kicked out for being a dumbass. Like there's so many avenues of approach to help you.
Yeah.
But these guys don't know that. And so they're suffering in silence. And then guess what? They're going to the bottle to cope. They're going to pills. And then eventually taking their lives. And that's what, I'm so thankful that I've given this platform with the Fallen Outdoors to push this mission. And, the hunting and the fishing is what we're based around, and which is awesome because, being in the outdoors is therapeutic.
Yep.
It's 100% therapeutic. But I'm also focusing on connecting, fostering relationships, and letting these guys know, hey, you're not alone.
Right.
Like, I've met, my assistant lead, James Grommersh, I met him on a hunt out in Judd, Texas, Memorial Day weekend. I did a hawk hunt out there, and he was one of the participants selected. And, he's like my brother now. And I've only known him for what was April? Since April.
Yeah.
And, that's my dude, and that's what it's about is get these veterans connected to other veterans and having someone to count on, and then also helping them get the resources they need. Hey, the VA clinic here in Wichita Falls, man, let's go. I'll go pick you up. That's what it's about to me. The hunting and fishing's cool. It's a perk. But for me, like I changed our little slogan to strength, healing, and hope. Like, that's what I'm focused on is helping these guys.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the ones that take advantage of this situation? I'm trying to watch my words here because
Well, there's bad actors in everything that
man,
you do.
you don't want to get me started on that.
Because I was around a guy that had PTSD. I'm not one to say he didn't because I don't know.
Right.
But I was thinking he was full of shit.
Yeah.
He was just milking the system.
There's a lot of
guys like that make it bad for the rest of the people.
100%.
And you look like an ass if you call him out on anything. But he was full of shit about everything. All he wanted to do was drink beer and get an excuse to get a check every month.
Yep. Well, I see that all the time, man.
And I
see it all the time.
So you're not. I'm not the only one that drives that fucking.
Oh no! And then to go with that too is what really grinds my gears. Is these troops that are coming in for 6 months to a year and getting out for migraines and getting 100% disability.
Right.
And, like when there's guys out there that have actually been to combat and that have actually seen some stuff that are getting 20%. And the system is just, and that's another thing I want to bring awareness to, man, is the opportunities and resources for veterans. Like my brother-in-law, he's a Marine. He spent, I think, 8 years in the Marine Corps and did a lot of high-speed shit. And, I talked to him and I was like, hey, so you're getting VA disability, right? He was like, no. I was like, why not? Like, he hurt his back, he hurt his arm. Like, he deserves a percentage. He busted his ass for this country.
Yeah.
There's so many vets that are getting out that don't understand that actually did stuff, the resources and the money that they can get. But the people that are coming in for like a year and getting out, and that bugs me, man. I think there should be like a certain criteria. You got to spend at least 5 years to get 100%.
So how does that work?
Situation
like,
pending.
is it all just based off of each individual case? Like, how do they
Yeah.
determine
Yeah.
he gets 100, he gets...
Yeah, it's based off every individual case. They take into effect surgeries, ailments, mental health. I mean, you name it. Whatever service-connected injuries you had, they'll take all of that and do their VA math, and then you'll get your percentage that way.
Right.
But they're, like I'm saying, these kids are coming in,
Yeah.
getting out for migraines and getting like a shit ton of money. But
I got a headache now.
that's a whole different rant.
You know, it's funny. You talked about, like, we had a guy on a couple years ago. His name's Ryan Lonergan, and his job in the military was he would cuff all the prisoners as they came in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Only a 31
I
Bravo.
don't know if he saw combat or anything, but that was his job. Like, he cuffed all the high-ranking people that they arrested. Like, that was his job, was to cuff them. And he's like, that fucked with me, because he's like, it's an intimate moment. He's like, I'm going up there and I'm physically putting hands on these people, and then he's like, it's weird, I know, but he's like, that's what I struggled with. He was like, it was a weird job, but he was like, you know, you're putting hands on every one of these people that are in charge of some of the most heinous things that we've seen. And he's like, I'm right there in their grill every single day. If they got to go to the bathroom or what, if they're getting yard time, I'm cuffing them and I'm taking them. But like, I can't remember. I'd have to listen to that podcast again. But like, I don't even know if he pulled the trigger ever.
Yeah.
But that was his job, and like, he struggled with that for years. So like, it's just weird, because like, you don't have to see a bunch of blood and guts over there. It can be something as simple as putting your bare hands on somebody's wrists.
100%. Everybody's trauma is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of people get the whole PTSD conception messed up. You know what I mean? Yes, when you think of military, you think of combat trauma when the word PTSD comes up, but there's all different forms. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So how long did you battle with, you know, you said like you turned to the bottle and substance abuse. Like, how long did you fight with that before you finally figured, I better go do something about this?
So I was a heavy drinker as a kid. I grew up in a household to where alcohol was present. My mother wasn't a drinker. And so, you know, even in high school, like, I mean, alcohol and substances has held me back so much throughout my life. I would like to think that I was a good enough athlete to get a college scholarship for football, but I was too busy doing things I shouldn't be doing. But yeah, man, I would say probably around 16 is whenever, you know, I started drinking a lot and then making a bunch of dumb decisions in high school. And I was at the point in my life, I had just graduated, and my high school sweetheart, now wife, Marissa, she gave me the ultimatum. She was like, you're either going to do something with yourself or I'm leaving, because she was in college, like thriving, and here I am just being a dirtbag. And so, you know, my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. And so the only thing I could do is really join the military. And I've always wanted to. A buddy of mine, Daniel Wisenhunt, we used to go to the Army Recruiter and get like shirts and all the little free stuff. And we had talked about going together. He unfortunately had an episode with some substances that almost took his life. But so yeah, man, I joined the military and I was 19, I think. Yeah, 19. Drinking heavy, Germany, drinking heavy. Got to Fort Hood, deployments. 2009, my wife was like, hey, you're out of control. It's the first time I seek behavioral health. And it's just been a roller coaster since then, man.
Yeah.
Since 2009 till 8 months ago, it's been, I've had a lot of trauma I've never addressed. And I finally in my life have found a therapist in Wichita Falls that I think is truly an angel for me. Her name's Jamie Lynn Estrada. And she has helped heal me. And I've got so much growth to go, man. But it's I've been in and out of behavioral health and treatment centers. I've been into inpatient treatment 4 times in my military career. And I think a lot of the reason for that was, you know, you can only handle so much mentally, and the trauma that you try to like forget about and bury is always going to be there. And for me, I never wanted to address it. And so PTSD is like your body's ability to handle stress, stressful situations. So I had all this baggage, you know, at the back of my heart or the back of my mind, and I would be doing good, and then the stressful situation would come about, and then I would lose it. You know, I'd be sober for a few months. Something comes up, boom. So, you know, one thing that I've learned is I have to address these demons. I have to rip some of these Band-Aids off, and if I truly want to heal, because I'll be 40 when I retire, and I'm like, that's half a lifespan.
Yeah.
So the first 40 years have been pretty rough, man. And so I'm at the second part of my life, and I want to thrive. I want to be the best father, the best husband, the best Christian man, the best leader that I can be. And so I finally started doing the work. And that's the thing is, men, we don't want to address these issues that we have. And I don't care who you are. We all have some sort of depression. We all have some sort of shit in the back of our brain that we think about that holds us back. And, you know, I've been very vulnerable and very open with my my struggles because, you know, I've had so many people reach out to me and just, hey, man, thank you for being open about it, because I'm struggling with that too. And that's what I want to do. And, you know, I'm not trying to get all, you know, Christian preachy, but, you know, especially these past 8 months, I just been telling the Lord to use me however he needs me, put me on the platform wherever you want me. And like I said, I wanted to open my own business when I retired, but right now I'm just praying, hey, put me where you want me. If it's, I don't know. But yeah, it's been a struggle, man. Like I said, I've been in and out, but I think I was at the point in my life this time to where I was really ready to be healthy. And I think that's what's different. Because every other time I've gotten sober or went to see the therapist, and it was kind of like, well, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. And, you know, I'm here because I've had people that never gave up on me. Like my wife, man, she's an angel. I put her through hell. And she's been by my side the whole time through all these moves throughout the military, through all these deployments, all the time going. She never gave up on me. And, you know, I'm just at the point in life to where, you know, hopefully we can just thrive from here.
Yeah, like when you look at the divorce rate among people that are deployed, like, you know, just the fact that y'all are still together is almost an anomaly in itself.
100%. I mean, she should have left so many times, man. But, you know, she never gave up on me because she knew, like, deep down, she knew who I was. She knew who I wanted to be. But, yeah, things are on the right track.
Well, and getting help is like, that's or being vulnerable. I shouldn't say getting help. Yeah. Being vulnerable is counterintuitive to like your whole mission. Like, you know, the whole time that you were being, you know, forged into this hardened soldier, it is on to the next, you know, bottle that shit up. You got to be this guy. You got to be this tough guy.
And finding the balance between that. I think if I would have, man, the stigma's real.
Yeah.
The reprisals real. I think if, you know, 10 years ago, if I would have had the support to go seek help, to get my shit together, I could have been 100 times a better leader and soldier than I was.
Right.
But it wasn't there. I mean, this last time I went to treatment in January. And, you know, here I am at almost 20 years of service. It came a point too, man, to where I had to say, what's more important? Is my life and my mental health more important, or is the mission? Because in the military, it's mission first.
Right.
And I still struggle with that mission first mindset. Like even with this nonprofit, like it's caused issues with my marriage because I've got a goal and I'm trying to achieve it. And so I get so tunnel vision, but it's always mission first. And there was a point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to take care of myself. The mission can hold, but I feel as if, you know, 10 years ago, if I would have really gotten healthy, I could have been 10 times a better soldier, 10 times a better leader. But they don't want to hear that. They would just rather you continue mission, suck it up, drive on, drink water, take some ibuprofen, and we'll see you at PT the next morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kick the can down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about your 22 mission.
Okay.
We've got a Hotter than Hell 100 coming up in Wichita Falls. It's a big bike ride. You ride 100 miles. And
Yes, sir.
You've got to tell us about what your event.
Yeah. So, we created a team. I originally had I want to say like 20 people that were going to ride. We're down to 4 now. Me,
It is fucking hot. So it's
it
like
is hot. And 25 miles ain't no joke,
No.
man. My son and I have been training for it, and bro, man, I'm not a bicycle rider, but it is actually pretty therapeutic, man. If it wasn't 115 degrees, but so yeah, so we I wanted to. I've never rid the Hotter in Hell, and I was like, you know what, this would be a perfect opportunity to bring more awareness to the 22 a day. 22 soldiers or veterans that are committing suicide or taking suicide attempts. And so I was like, let's sign up for the 25-mile route, and we'll ride 22 miles in honor of them. And then at the 22-mile stop, we'll plant a flag, and we'll do like kind of a little ceremony in remembrance of the 22. So that mission is so near and dear to my heart. You know, we used to lose so many battle buddies, brothers, sisters in arms at war, but we're not really at war anymore. So the problem we have now is suicide, is veteran suicide. And when I was in Alaska, one of my soldiers, Colton Patton, we were talking about Patton earlier. Every time I hear that name, it reminds me of him. But he was like a little brother to me. Used to take my kids places. He's a great kid. I want to say he was maybe around 23, 24 when he took his life in 2020. But yeah, so he had had some issues with his wife, and I don't want to get into that, but unfortunately he ended up taking his life when we were stationed in Alaska. He hung himself in his garage, and that was the first time that I've ever experienced suicide. I've never known anybody to take their own life, and it was rough. It was really rough, and it was real because, you know, the 22 campaign started a few years ago, and you would see it, you know, on social media and on Facebook, but I was never personally affected by it. Not that it didn't mean anything to me, but so yeah, he took his life, and probably a few months after that, it's crazy because as long as I've been in the military, I have never really had a true mentor that really kind of took care of me and looked out for me. I've had to pretty much learn everything on my own and kind of grind, you know what I mean? It's hard to find good leaders that care for you. I mean, that's just not just in the military, that's just in everyday life. Yeah. But I found a guy, Peter Isaacson, and he was a former first sergeant, and he would come down, and we became friends. We became really good friends, and he'd spent, I want to say, 22 years in the service, and had some pretty severe injuries, and he hurt his neck. He was ready to retire. I mean, 22 years in today's Army, bro, you need Medal of Honor for that stuff. But he was trying to retire, and they wouldn't let him retire. And he was, you know, he had 2 teenage kids, and he was like, look, I've put so much time in, I'm ready to move on, kind of like how I am. Let's go on to this next chapter of life. And the Army was saying, no, you can't, because his MOS was specific for that area in Alaska, and they wouldn't let him retire. So he ended up taking his life. He shot himself in the head in his kitchen, and his family found him, and his kids found him. And so it was like one big punch to the face right after the other. And I was like, this can't be real, man. Like, really? Like, so that was 2. And like I said, I've never experienced anybody take their lives. Like, none of my friends, none of my family. I've had lots of people overdose from drugs that meant a lot to me. But so Peter ended up taking his life, and man, Alaska was so bad for me. It was so good, but it was also so bad. And PCS from Alaska down here, back to Wichita Falls at Fort Sill. And last year, my soldier, Demarius Brown, well, he got out. It wasn't even a year ago. It was probably, I know exactly when it was. It was January 18th. It was funny because it was the day that I was going into treatment. I was in the behavioral health office on Fort Sill, and they were going to take me into Red River. That's where I went down here in Wichita Falls. And I got a phone call from one of my NCO buddies, and he's like, did you hear yet? And I was like, did I hear what? He's like, Brown took his life. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And so that, I haven't cried in so long, man. Like, with that's another thing I'm working on too, is actually being able to have emotions and feel again, because for so many years I just pushed that shit back. But that broke me. I mean, of course I cried for Colton and Peter, but it broke me, man. And I was like, the counselor was in there. She was like, "Are you okay?" Like, this was the day that I went to treatment. And I was like, "I'm fine." But so Demarius Brown ended up hanging himself. He had just gotten out of the military, went to work on a ranch in Arkansas, and was having marriage issues. And so yeah, man, it's been tough. But it just breaks my heart knowing that these dudes were suffering in silence. And any bit of awareness that I can bring to this, if I can save one person, then I know I'm successful. And so that's the reason behind the 22 mile. So the 22 mile 22, what we want to call it. But yeah, just to help bring more awareness to these guys and help these guys know, hey, if you're struggling, reach out, bro.
Where's mile 22 at?
I don't know. I have to look at the route.
Suicide is it's a horrible thing, but to a family, it's no different than a car wreck. Mm-hmm. People are like, "What do you mean?" Well, you're not expecting someone to die. If you're a family member and someone in your family kills himself, it's no different than dying in a car wreck. I mean,
it's way different.
Well, you're pissed off at him most of the time.
No,
but
you're left with so much. You're always, that's like somebody, this is a terrible analogy, but that's like somebody dying from drunk driving and knowing you could have taken the keys. You always feel responsible.
Okay,
because you're always thinking back to that last conversation that I had. Did I miss something that I could have said something?
What I mean though is it's a shock to a family, the same as it is if someone get killed in a car wreck. To that family, they don't. I mean, it's all of a sudden he's dead. I mean, it's.
Yeah, but there's an immense amount of burden that the survivors carry because I guarantee you, the wife, whatever problems they were going through,
they do carry that. But I'm saying when you get a call that someone died, whether it's killed themselves or indirect, to a family, it's a horrible deal. I mean, it's just it comes out of nowhere. Yes, you are going to feel guilty about that. But like when your friend dies, you may not talk to Demarius all the time. I don't know how often you talk to him. So it's no different than getting a call. He's in an accident. I mean, what he did was, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Well, I know what I'm trying to say, but it's not coming out the way I want it to say.
Suicide is, it is different. To me, it is. Just for the mere fact that, I think a lot of these can be prevented.
Most all of them can be.
And, as far as like car wrecks, if that's your time to go, that's your time to go. It's still tough either way. Losing somebody is going to be hard no matter what.
Right. It's just different than if they have a disease or something. It's blindsides a person when someone in their memory. And we knock on wood, we haven't had to deal with this in our family.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that have done it. I went to school with a couple of guys that did it over stupid shit, Yeah. But I mean, it is.
Yeah, but I mean, if one of your kids or grandkids, if you get the call that they committed suicide and you knew that they were kind of struggling, you would always replay every conversation you ever had with them in your mind.
Well,
like, what the fuck did I miss? Yeah. It's my fault. I should have been there for them. I wasn't there. So there's a lot of survivors that,
survivor's guilt.
They have to carry that burden now. Whatever battles that this person was dealing with, it's passed on to the people that they loved and had friendships with.
It's a very selfish
because
deal.
Everybody feels like they missed something.
I mean, I hate to be, I'm not being inconsiderate, but it's a very selfish act.
It is. And for me, of course there's so many questions, right? Like, but for me I guess what, breaks my heart the most is just knowing, how bad they were suffering to make you want to do that. Like, I've been in some really low points in my life. And 8 months ago was one of them. I've never, tried to take my life. It did cross my mind 8 months ago, and I know I was in a bad spot, but to actually follow through with it, the pain that those people are feeling, that's what really gets me. And if they don't leave a note, which none of these guys did, it just makes you have so many questions. Like, not only what could I have done something better? Should I have called him the other day? You know what I mean? Like it's, and then for the immediate families involved, like, I still talk to Patton's mom daily. I messaged her the other day, and I just see I can't imagine, man, losing your kid, no matter, but also like to something like that
they chose
would be rough. Yeah,
it's a tough deal. And the Well, they're all sad. You mean that little 16-year-old girl that does it because some guy broke up with her?
Right.
Like, you got your whole life ahead of you. It's
Right.
not even that important. And how many people have you ever heard? It's like, I just wish I'd die. This is just bullshit. I'd rather die than this shit.
Right.
You don't mean that shit.
Right.
I mean, you got your whole life. I don't know. It's a bad deal. Depression is horrible. And I see more and more people are depressed, and you see stuff and you think, God almighty.
And you know, like the main reason for that too is and even today's generation is everybody's inside. You know, everybody stays inside. They're on video games, and not only just hot, but like, you know, where we grew up outside playing football, like riding bicycles. But with today's generation, everything's like everybody's isolated, especially since COVID.
Yep.
Everybody's isolated. Nobody wants to get outside, but people don't understand. Like, I think they did a study, some small tribal village in South America. They did a study on depression with that village. And I want to say 1% out of a population of like 400 were depressed. And that's because they had the hunter-gatherer mentality. They're out every day exercising. They're out eating healthy food. They're out getting vitamin D from the sun. Like, their lifestyle, like back in the day, cavemen is built around thriving and living. As humans, we weren't built to stay in a house and play video games and not talk to people. One thing that's helped me heal so much lately is being active with my church and getting like new friendships and relationships. Because when I was bad, depressed, alcoholic, I don't do nobody. Like, you know, it was, hey, I'm gonna come home and say I'm gonna go hunting, but really I'm going out there just to drink. Like, stay away from everybody. But you know, getting involved and being active and finding productive things to do and talking to people like we're doing right now. You know, there's so many avenues that could fix that, but depression's huge.
Well, people have to have a purpose in life too, and that's
True.
the thing. When people get out of the service, you know, they've had this purpose for so long, 20 years in your case. I've had a purpose. I've had a reason to get up and get going in the morning. And then when that gets taken away from them, whether it be retirement or, you know, not able to do it physically anymore, that purpose gets removed. And then it's like, well, what now? Well, I might as well just sit here and be a piece of shit.
And that's why I love TFO, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, God gave me this opportunity for a reason, because everybody is like, you know, you're going to miss this. You're going to miss the brotherhood. You're going to miss the camaraderie. You're going to miss the dark humor sense of the dark sense of humor. You know what I mean? Like,
being the guys.
You remind me of an Army guy with your personality and how crazy
Talking
you are
shit
all the time. Yeah. You know, that's what we do, like, on a daily basis. And so when they get out and they miss that, right? And so, you know, I've had one of my really good friends, Greg, he got out and he's missing. He's like, bro, I miss it. I want to come back. And I'm like, dude, go get plugged in with the veteran community around you somewhere. There's a VFW, and Greg's a big beer drinker. Go to the VFW and drink beer. Like, but with TFO, that's what we do, is we get these guys that are missing the camaraderie, the brotherhood, and we're just fostering relationships and, you know, keeping that going. And so I'm super thankful for that.
When I see somebody that's frail and their skin white, pasty white, I worry about them. I really do.
You got to have vitamin D, bro.
You have to get the fuck out of your house, and you got to be around people.
Well, and if you just sit in your house, your problems get magnified, because that's all you do is you think about what's wrong with you.
And that's why Alaska was so bad for me. Like, the spring and summer was amazing. But, you know, 8 months of winter, I'm not an ice fisherman and I don't ski. So it was like inside Netflix, drinking beer, you know what I mean? Like, they actually have happy lights when you're in Alaska. They have actual UV ray light bulbs that emit vitamin D that everybody uses. But man, Alaska's bad with depression and suicide.
It's terrible. It's one of the leading states.
Yes.
Like the Inuits or whatever it is, the Eskimos. I don't know what the fucking proper word for it is, but them fuckers, they commit a lot of suicide.
They do.
Because of that. They drink and they get hoarded up. I'm going to tell you a prime candidate right now. If we play Deadpool, you know what Deadpool is? Where you pick someone that's going to die in a year.
Okay.
And they do celebrities. You know, you pick someone with stage 4 cancer. Well, fuck, that's not much of a...
That's an easy one.
Yeah. Britney Spears. She'd be a top 5 pick right now. Have you seen that bitch lately?
She's getting a divorce.
She is fucking...
Jeff, she's single now.
Yep.
She's getting a divorce.
I was wondering how long that was going to take. Because, bro, like...
If you watch her videos, the bitch is pasty white. She's got raccoon eyes. She's fucking cray-cray as could be anyways. But she's worth about $100 million. So
but
your mom is out and Brittany's in if she wants in for $100 million.
You couldn't handle that.
Her
amount of
prenup
craziness.
deal, she had a solid prenup with this guy.
Really?
Yeah, and now he's trying to trash her, and if he don't, he's going. They supposedly caught her having sex with a couple of guys up there.
I was wondering how long that was going to take. That dude's a good-looking man, like, you know, like, And she's a basket case,
Oh,
bro.
she
She's
is.
all
Fuck
over
up
the
and a
place.
half. Her Instagram is excellent though. I watch every day. I look at it just to see her shit.
At her dancing videos.
Oh
Yes.
shit,
She looks
is
like a weirdo.
She is fucking crazy.
My wife was the biggest Britney Spears fan. I actually took her to a concert in Dallas a few years ago when she was somewhat normal.
Brittany thinks she's that oops I did it again rumping around in her little Catholic girl suit. That ain't shit ain't happening no more. That bitch is cray over the hill.
Yeah.
She's nuts. She's the one that's drinking 2 bottles of vodka at the country club every day and spending her money.
For real.
But anyway, she is pasty white and shit.
Yeah.
Unless she's bumping some guy on a fucking beach somewhere, going somewhere, she's fucking crazy.
That's awesome.
But you get crazy though because nobody like we'll use Fame for an
Oh,
example.
pull one of her
Like
videos up there. Andy. Put it on the deal there. People
will.
see how crazy she is.
But like these people make a life to where nobody tells them like, no, that's a bad idea. You shouldn't do that. Like
Yeah.
if you tell Britney Spears like, hey, that's stupid, don't do that. You're just not gonna hang out with Britney Spears anymore.
I mean, look at her. She looks like an old stripper, and she was a beautiful girl from Louisiana.
She was.
Look at her now.
Look at her just
Golly.
dancing videos.
And her dancing's horrible too.
Yeah, it's
you know?
not. It's
like
not all that good. You figure she had all that stage time, or dances would
Right.
be a little bit better. But
Them fucking eyeballs. That's got cray.
Bro, yeah, she's on something, man.
Yeah, that's Tiffany, the old stripper from somewhere.
oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, she's on a pole now.
Lordy mercy.
Got to stay active.
You find a woman worth $100 million that acts like that shit. Don't happen very often. And self-made. Look at her.
Yeah, but
Do you remember-
every guy out there is like, I'll deal with that craziness.
That's
Got
funny.
bullshit
That's
on
a
that
lot
shit. She
of-
ain't got enough money for that shit. But,
That's a lot of.
I haven't
woman to
seen that
handle.
one yet. Is that a new one?
Oh yeah,
a
that's-
week ago.
Yeah, she's fucking. I'm telling you, she's fucking out there.
Y'all remember that Free Britney guy? Just leave Britney
Yeah,
alone.
that turned out to not be the case. Like she needed her dad.
Yeah.
Turned to find out. Yeah, like her and her dances are all the same.
That is just.
She's got everything but a meth pipe and fucking living in a garbage pail.
She probably
we're
has the
only
meth
Yeah,
pipe.
we're only
Yep.
seeing one sliver of one room. So
She
like
probably has the meth pipe.
the meth pipe might be there.
Oh, look at those. Oh my, bro, she's got a demon in her.
But I'll give you Pamela Anderson. Pam Anderson's still pretty good looking.
Have you seen her new documentary?
No.
You need to watch it.
On Netflix.
Yeah,
I
where
think I watched
she
it.
moved up to Canada, I think.
She's from Canada.
Yeah, she's up there on her own little property, and she's doing real well. It was actually a really good watch.
I did watch the Pam and Tommy show though to come out.
On Hulu.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I
Watch
watched
that.
the video when it first came out 20 years ago or so.
Oh, the
so then
video,
I thought it
video.
was only right for me to watch the actual documentary so I could figure out how. She was good looking some bitch too,
Yeah,
but she's out there also.
I think
She was naturally beautiful.
She was
beautiful.
absolutely natural.
she's
beautiful.
way more like put
Oh.
together than this chick right here.
Britney Spears is
Yeah.
batshit fucking crazy. That's the bitch that comes out of a 7-Eleven asking you for $2 to buy a cigarette. That is, or cigarello. She's fucking cray.
I probably shouldn't say this, but that's kind of like that town I just drove through, Monday, Texas.
Get her on the planes.
Woo!
There's some really good people in Mundy though.
I shouldn't say
Yeah.
that.
They don't have any Britney Spears over there though. But
I saw a couple guys that were pretty sketch.
the guy by Allsup's, yeah, he's there every day.
Is he?
Yeah, you can go by there at 3:00 in the morning I always honk and wave at him.
The first time I was there a few months ago, I had my son with me.
But look at Brittany there. She was
No,
beautiful.
that's
That's
Pam.
Pam. I
That's
mean,
Pam.
look at Pam. She was
Yeah.
beautiful.
That was her original, like with Labatt's or whatever.
That's where she got
That
her
was-
break.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
at a football
that was
game.
Her,
Yep.
that was kind of her original ad.
Beautiful
I
girl.
mean,
Yeah,
she's just a
natural
beautiful,
beauty. Yep.
beautiful
Yep.
chick. And Britney Spears was too. I mean,
That- I'm telling you, Hollywood, it sucks the energy out of people. Sucks their shit out of them. They use you up and you're done. And unless you're on adrenochrome or whatever it is, you fucking don't age well.
Have y'all watched that new Sound of Freedom yet?
I
haven't
will
yet.
not watch it because it'll just piss me off with our
Yeah.
fucking politicians.
I think I'm gonna give it a watch.
I was really proud of Odell Beckham Jr. enough that I made him draft him in fantasy, even though he won't be worth having.
What'd he say?
He come out against it and said something needs to be done about these kids. He said this is ridiculous. And then another athlete come out too. So those athletes are starting to talk about it, just like they're also talking about how bad the injection is for them, and they're all talking about that shit too.
Yeah,
One of them's going to break ranks on that deal too.
it's about time.
I don't know what's going to happen because like a lot of these, if they're ever able to tie some of these things that we're seeing with the to the jab, like surely some of these companies are going to be liable, right?
They should be.
If you were told by your company to work here, you have to do this medical procedure, and then it's found out that this medical procedure is causing blood clots and myocarditis, like
There should be some
your
kind of
employer
liable.
should be liable for that.
So you know what the military did, right? How they forced
Kinda,
they
yeah.
forced us to get it,
Yeah.
and if you didn't get it, they kicked you out.
Yeah.
So one of my soldiers, Hayden, he was totally against it. He was like, I'm not taking it. And so they chaptered him out of the Army for not taking the shot. And now they're trying to bring people back. Now it's not mandatory anymore.
My youngest is in that boat. He won't do. He took the first one and
Yeah.
maybe took one. He said, I ain't taking no more. But he said, I'll get out. I can make a lot more money out of it anyways. But
I took one when I was in Korea just for the fact if we didn't take it, we would have to be restricted to post. We couldn't leave. And I was like, man, I'm in Korea. I'm going to go eat this food and go, see these sites. But I won't take it in. And I had to take the Johnson & Johnson too. And that was the one that was really messing people up.
Right. We've got a buddy of ours that worked for a company, and I'm not going to mention the company's name, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he's in bad shape right now. And it's probably what it's from. They've even asked him about it and some other things. But if he would not have taken the jab, then if he would have gotten COVID and had to go home for 14 days, or if he was around someone else that tested positive and they would have isolated him for 14 days, they wouldn't have paid him. So they made him do that. He had no choice.
Right.
And at that time when it was first come out, if you worked with somebody, someone I know had COVID. Oh, you got to stay home for 14 days.
Yeah.
Fucking people are staying home for 14 days all the time. Well, he didn't want to get forced and not get paid for half a month.
Right.
So he had no choice.
I was enjoying it though.
The staying home?
Well, no, like if we were around people when it first came out,
Right.
we did a lot of work from teleworking too, even in the military. It was like, nice. But now the policy, you basically have to have it in order to miss work. But we
Supposedly,
had a lot of time off.
You told us this. Go ahead and tell me what you told me. Go ahead and tell us.
Well, it's from Alex Jones, so
Everything he talks about.
a lot of what he says,
comes
there's
true.
A little bit of truth, but anyway, a TSA agent has said October, be ready for masks on airplanes again, and then by December, be ready for full lockdowns again.
Oh,
There's a variant. I guess it's in Canada, and TSA has already told their people October we're rolling this out, and December, full lockdowns again. But the airlines lost their asses from full lockdowns, right? Didn't they, Jeff?
Yep.
So I don't know why they would be on board with it, but I figured they'd be the people that would be like, no, we're not doing this again.
I like to travel and I like to fly, and I would wear a mask again if they made me, if it was a mandatory deal. Probably just because I want to fucking fly and say, if I didn't have no choice, if I had to be in New York tomorrow and they said you can fly or you can fucking drive, I'm fucking wear a mask.
I'm going to Hawaii in February.
Yeah,
so.
you ain't got no choice. You gonna fucking get on a boat? That's it. You can fly or boat. You ain't driving. But I would have to wear one if I did. But I don't think America's going to go for it. The motherfucking countries will. Some of our liberal cities might. But I'm not going for that shit.
Yeah.
So I don't think very many. The airlines, they got them by the balls though. Because how many flights have you been on that didn't have a soldier on it? They all have a soldier on there.
Oh yeah.
Every one of them. They got a big government contract.
Yeah.
And they make a lot of money. So if the government come out and they are the biggest customer of our airlines and said, listen, we're not flying on American no more unless you're going to go with us on this deal.
Right.
American's going to go with you. They don't want to lose $1 billion, I don't know how many billions a year the government spend with American Airlines.
Yeah.
So I don't
Damn,
know.
I hope that doesn't happen.
But everything Alex Jones says comes true just about.
Yeah.
Or is true, and we don't want to talk about it.
Did he
later
ever
on.
get in trouble for that case? I know that he was.
Oh, he's still there. They're
still doing
trying
it?
to break his ass over that deal.
Yeah.
Free speech is not free if you're a Republican.
Yep.
Democrats, you can say what the fuck you want to.
Yep.
It's just like us. We get shut down on a lot of our social media over things. But if we put a 4-year-old girl in fucking a Boy Scout uniform, be okay. Or if
Right.
we took a 4-year-old boy and put him in a fucking dress and high
yeah.
heels, then it's Dwayne Wade's son and it's okay.
Oh
Have you seen that picture of his family?
no.
He posted a picture the other day about how brave he is and his family. I guess he got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his wife is Gabrielle Union, the chick that's on Bad Boys.
Right.
Smoke show, good looking lady.
Bring it
Fucking
on. Cheer movie.
Dumber and shit though, I guess.
It's on my house all the
They have
time.
a son that's a daughter that they've been dressed as a girl since she was 2-3 years old. Full fucking high heels, 12, 14, 15 years old, 6'3". Probably fucking needs to have a basketball, But wears a dress everywhere and stuff. And I did see the clip where he interviewed. He's got his own show, I guess. And he interviewed Michelle Obama to talk about coming out. Well, Big Mike could be the one to talk to about
Yeah,
that
for
shit.
real, dude.
So, anyways,
Big Mike.
this, but they've raised this kid. And then I saw a picture of Megan Fox, another smoke show.
Yeah.
She's got 3 boys. All of them are transgender. What are the percentages of that? 1 in a billion.
Probably.
You know, I've got 3 sons. They all think they need to get their penis cut off. But
Insane.
But
thank you, sir.
She was there no cold ones left?
Here.
No, I'm good. I just drank a bottle of water. I was just fucking with
You
Andy.
can have a hot one.
But I was listening to or Megan Fox. All 3 of her boys are transgenders, and all this fucking Charlize Theron. I think her boys did. Sharon Stone. All these motherfuckers. I guess they all went and got adopted little boys. Want to turn them into little girls. Why don't you just adopt a fucking girl?
Jordan Peterson did the math on that.
On the it's 1 in a billion, wasn't it?
So disgusting.
I'll try to find it.
You should be going to hell for that shit.
Yes.
They
will.
Ridiculous. That's
will.
right. Their other side is not going to be good to them. I just don't understand what is cute about dressing a little boy up and telling him he's a little girl. Because if you took any kid, I'm telling you right now, you could take the horniest kid in the world, and if you would have taken him at 1.5 years of age and started making him think he was a girl the whole time, he's going to fall for that.
Right.
I just thought mathematically right away. It's like the chance you have a trans kid is 1 in 3,000. And let's say the chance that you have a pansexual kid is the same.
What is
Whatever
pansexual?
Means I don't even know how to calculate those odds. But whatever that is rarer than trans because no one ever even heard about it until 5 years ago. So the joint probability that you have a trans kid and a pansexual kid is 1 in 9 million. The odds that you're a pathological narcissist sacrificing your own children is 8,999,999 to 1.
Wow.
She said, well, I have 2 children, 5.
Did you see that interview with him?
Well, I'll try to find it.
Did you see that interview?
What is
I mean,
pansexual?
Pansexual.
You have sex with pots and pans? I mean,
no. Pan means everything. So I think maybe you're fluid. Maybe like you can be anything at any given
So
moment.
you're bisexual. There's only bisexual because you either sleep with a boy or a girl.
because now they have furries.
Fuck that shit. You're still a boy or a girl. You may like fucking goats, but it's either like boy goats or you like girl goats.
Yeah.
That's it. There's just 2. You know, if you look at any hunting rig in the deal, you either shoot a buck or a doe. 2. I ain't seen a fucking transsexual deer yet.
Executive mentioned on video. She said, well, I have 2 children, 5 and 7. One is trans and the other is pansexual. And I just thought mathematically right away. It's like the chance you have a trans kid is 1 in 3,000. That's not a very high chance. And let's say the chance that you have a pansexual kid is the same, whatever pansexual means. But whatever that is rarer than trans because no one ever even heard about it until 5 years ago. So the joint probability that you have a trans kid and a pansexual kid is 1 in 9 million. The odds that you're
It's basically the same thing, but I got to find out what pan is, pansexual is. But yeah, I mean, so 1 in 3,000 are the odds for you to have a trans kid.
1 in what, 3,000?
1 in 3,000 is that.
So we should have we should have 1 transsexual kid in Knox County then.
Basically, yeah.
Well, no, because we don't have 3,000 kids in Knox City.
Oop.
So, or Knox County. So in Wichita Falls Wichita County's got a population of 150,000 people.
50?
150,000 people live in Wichita County. So let's say that there's 20% of them are kids. That's 30,000 people.
Yeah.
And so Wichita County should have 10 transsexual kids then.
Pan is you're attracted towards all genders, regardless of sex or gender identity.
So you're bisexual.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, there's a meme. I think I saw it on Facebook or Instagram, but it says, what I imagine you say when you're pansexual, and there's just like this weird little girl like licking this pan, not little girl, this woman licking this pan. I was like I didn't even know what that shit mean.
Like brownie
So
batter.
it's basically just bisexual. You're attracted to
Everything.
but they want to make new words and
We were in Woodstock, New Hampshire. We went by a church up there, and up there all the churches have got the gay flags and other stuff going on, you know. And then the funniest one I saw was Black Trans Lives Matter. So I started doing the math. In the great state of Vermont, there's 6 black people live in Vermont probably. It's all white people. We all know that shit. It's all white people. Black straight guys, they don't fucking matter, but black trans did. So I had a buddy of mine that's a black guy, and he's definitely heterosexual. So you better be careful up there, 'cause they're fucking get your ass. But if you was a transsexual, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
But how many black transgenders are there anyways? I just, less than half of 1%. I mean, what the fuck is going on with our country? Why don't we just call them what they are? They're fucking weirdos.
yeah.
That's what it is. If you are transsexual, you are a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Do you agree,
I agree.
Andy?
Yeah, something's off.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wired right.
Yeah.
You know, we have gotten to a place now where if you're gay, we can accept that.
Right.
You know, I don't care if you're gay or straight. It doesn't bother me. You know, when I was in high school, it probably would have bothered me. I thought, yeah, it's fag. Nowadays, it doesn't bother me no more. It doesn't. I guess I'm older. I'm more accepting of shit.
Yeah.
But the transgender shit, I ain't never going to get over that shit.
Yeah.
Ever. I'm telling you right now, never in my life. If I'd lived to be 110 years old, 60 or 55 years from now, you're a fucking weirdo if you're transsexual.
I'm with you. I remember whenever the don't ask, don't tell policy came in
Yeah.
the military.
Yep.
And we had a troop. I didn't even get a gay vibe at all from him. I thought he was straight. Then whenever that passed, we came in the office and he had a picture of him and his husband together, and I was like,
Ooh.
what? Like, interesting.
So you're into penis.
Interesting.
Good for you. You know, you look at Bud Light. The best commercial Bud Light ever had was when they used to make fun of the Washington Redskins, the Hogettes. Do you remember when the Redskins back in the 80s?
I know who the
when they were a
Hogettes
super
are.
team. They had the men that dressed up to all the football. They were called the Hogettes, a bunch of fat guys with a mustache, them old porn mustaches.
Yeah.
They dressed up like women and they'd show them on TV all the time. Then Bud Light said, fuck that, we're going to get into that shit. Ladies' night. Beer's $2 a pitcher or whatever it was. Here comes the Hogettes. So they highlighted that.
Right.
Now what do? Now we got fucking that, whatever his name is. Dylan Mulvaney or whatever his name is. And it's ruined their company. You know, they were doing a whole lot better off when we were making fun of transgender shit and trying to prop them up.
I can't believe they promoted that.
I saw where Billy Bush wants to buy the company back. I don't know if he's got the capital, but he wants to buy Bud Light back from Bud and make it an all-American. Did you see that? Yeah,
They're going to have to do something.
He said, we can save that company, but we want to come it back. He said, my grandfathers would roll over in their grave to think that this company is supporting transgender bullshit. And it's coming from Billy Bush. Now, they've sold everything and been done. But he's right. And I don't know why it's so hard to say that. How many people in their office that listen to this, and we have hundreds of thousands of people listen to our shit every day, how many of them actually got a guy in their office that don't know what the fuck he is?
Right.
You know? I know men that like men. I know men that like women. I know some that are fucking confused.
Right.
But I don't know any of them that think they're a fucking woman.
Don't give idea. I don't know. Not good. It's a dangerous trajectory that we're on.
And you get in trouble if you say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you can't say that. Why? Everybody's fucking thinking the same thing. You know? I don't get it.
Crack me up, bro.
I couldn't be in the military. I couldn't all this shit, these fancy
You
places.
couldn't be anywhere other than right here.
You got to get
because-
that annual transgender training. I'll make sure I bring you along next time. Wait, actually, I'm done with that.
Did you ever watch that show, Rescue Me? Dennis Leary was a fireman.
No.
It is a great show. One of the best. It's going to come back on Netflix in about 10 years. And it's going to be a huge hit. Everybody's going to be watching it again.
Well, all this would have to go away.
What?
The transgender stuff.
That's what I'm talking about. Do you remember when they went to that
Sensitivity training?
Sensitivity training. God damn, it's fucking great.
That's basically what it is.
Oh, but they talk about, they make fun of white people. They make fun of black people. They make fun of Mexican people.
Yeah.
They make fun of gay people. They make fun of everything.
Yeah.
And it's on the show. They even make fun of midgets because they had a midget on the show for a while, didn't they?
They're dwarfs.
Yeah. The guy lived with him for a while.
They're dwarfs now.
Yeah.
You can't call them midgets without
Yeah.
getting in trouble.
Here's the clip.
My guys, Don Kleinman. I know nobody wants to be here.
Yeah, seeing as how the neighborhood we serve is short of rig for the next 8 hours, yeah, we ain't happy.
Fair enough. Now, how many of you, being totally honest now, how many of you would say that you're prejudiced? Show of hands. Okay, see, now this is the usual response. No one identifies him or herself as prejudiced. We all think, okay, we have a hand up. You think you're prejudiced? Yep. Against who?
Well, let's see. Chevy Neons that cost $12 grand to buy but have $8,000 paint jobs and 9 spics inside them smoking weed. That's one thing.
Okay, now listen, the term spick.
It's okay, a spick.
Well, see, that's really not...
Crazy chink broads who don't know how to drive in the first place, and now they got cell phones stuck to their ears while they're doing 65 miles an hour down 6th Avenue. Huh?
Yeah.
Right? Got crazy chinks on bikes with 10 pounds of Chinese food strapped to the handlebars.
Okay,
You know.
now see, the word chink is what I like to call a problem word.
If I were a chink, I'd rather be called a chink than a gook.
Okay, now hold on, listen to me, please. Chinese people would not like to be called gook or chink or pan face or zipper head or...
See, that's another thing. I mean, Puerto Ricans, we get shafted even when it comes to racism. Chink's got what, like 4 ethnic slurs? We get 1, spick, that's it. The Irish, they got Mick, Patty, Donkey. Italians, they got Guinea, Wop, Dago.
Yeah, spaghetti bender.
Spaghetti bender went out of style during Sidantra's first marriage.
Greaseball?
Yeah, greaseball, there you have it. That's 4.
That's right. You know what? Same thing with the Jews, right? Eve, Kike, Jew boy, Benny.
Shylock.
That's 5.
Yeah, black people forget about it. Spear chucker, jungle bunny, raisin head, porch monkey.
Spook, giant, car baby.
Yeah, it's endless. Totally unfair.
Yeah.
This guy's like, what the fuck?
But see, we should be able to live that way. People shouldn't be so fucking sensitive about shit.
But that's just an old school fire department in New York.
And that's still, that's the mentality, not mentality,
My dad was a retired firefighter in Wichita Falls.
oh yeah,
and
we
so
talked about that.
that's the world I grew up in.
Yeah.
But like,
But nobody got their feelings hurt.
if you finish the clip, like basically Dennis Leary has enough of it, and he's like, I don't give a fuck what color you are. If your house is on fire, I'm going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you be what you want to be, black, white, green, Asian, Martian. If your shit's on fire, I don't look at that.
Exactly.
I'm going in to do a job.
100%.
So don't be so fucking sensitive about things.
People need to loosen up on life. The military used to be that way. And I asked my son, I said, is it that uptight? He goes, not in our deal. He said, we've got 12 guys that do
They've
whatever
got
he does.
a cool shop,
He said,
cool team. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they have a shop they in. I think he's in a
He's a nerd.
skiff.
Office.
Yeah, nerd.
Yeah.
They don't have a coffee pot.
Really?
Can you believe that shit? I go, do y'all have y'all make coffee every day? What do y'all drink? He goes, well, we don't have a coffee
Monsters.
pot. I go, you don't have a coffee pot? He goes, I got a Starbucks on every corner around here.
He's in Washington.
Or we have a coffee deal. I
Yeah.
go, y'all don't have, I've never known a military to not have a coffee pot in the
Yeah.
corner. But it's a bunch of nerds. So but he said they can talk about whatever they want to. Nobody gets hurt, but there's just 12 of them.
But all it takes is that first person to put a claim on them.
Yes.
And then it's all over
That's
with.
exactly right.
And that's why, you got to be so careful, man.
Yeah.
Like the equal opportunity, anything racist. I mean, even music. We could just listen to any music we want. It's a civilian workforce in uniform, man.
I don't. But these guys right here, those would be fun people to work for because that's the
100%.
life I was around.
Yeah.
You didn't get feelings hurt. If you're a fat guy, someone called me a fat ass. Really? You think that's going to hurt my fucking feelings? I can hurt your feelings. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You can say whatever you want about me because I don't let shit like that bother me.
Right.
And most people shouldn't. But it's that one person in your office that gets their fucking panties knotted up every time that ruin it for fucking everyone else.
Yep.
But that is a funny fucking clip right there. And that guy, that was normal though.
Yeah.
Not like that whole show. That was my show back in the day.
That's what I was talking about as far as the veteran, dark sense of humor, like-minded.
right,
that's, that's what we miss.
That was normal life.
Yeah.
If you'd have went to any place in the 60s or 70s and worked somewhere, it was the same shit. Everybody made fun of people.
Yeah.
People didn't get all their fucking feelings hurt and stuff. They didn't put it on the news. And, but another thing that really bothers me in the world, it does, is people that use color for a crutch.
Oh, yeah.
I don't give a fuck what color you are. If you're poor and you haven't achieved anything in life, that's on your ass. It ain't on nobody else's ass.
Yep.
This is 2023. Quit living fucking in 1940 or 1840 or whatever the fuck it is. You can achieve anything you want to, regardless of what color you are, where you were raised, or anything else. If you're a dirt ass poor and you're of color, you've got every opportunity to go to any college you want to in the world for free.
Yep.
Go achieve something with that. Take advantage of your situation, but don't use it as an excuse because it's not an excuse at all. I'm 5'10", 6 foot tall. I couldn't play in the NBA. That's a fact.
Right.
So fucking give up on that shit.
We're gonna have to start wrapping up here soon. I gotta go get my son from school.
Nice.
So it's the Fallen Outdoors Team Texas. What's your website?
So unfortunately,
No website.
Well, no, there's the national website. It's thefallenoutdoors.org. And then you can follow us on Instagram at TFO_Texas. And
anybody in North Texas wants to reach out to you, look you up on what?
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, TFO_Texas, or you can call me at 940-447-1416.
And you're going to be riding in the Hotter than Hell 100 this Saturday.
This Saturday.
At mile 22.
Mile 22.
After the last Ryder Old High game. Fuck the Wichita Falls Independent School District.
Word.
It's only gonna be 102 on Saturday.
Go
so you're
Rojo.
good.
What time on?
Whoa,
what about it?
Whoa. We don't ever say that on this show.
Hey, man.
Jeff's an old high guy.
I know. This is y'all's year, huh?
No, I don't think so. Not since they've done the school choice deal. But I will say this on behalf of every resident, citizen, ex-student of Wichita Falls Independent Schools District, school board can go fuck yourself. And I absolutely mean that, and so does everybody in every little nook and cranny. Wichita Falls went from 3 schools to 2, and they're taking away all the history. They might as well be Democratic fucking lawmakers. So fuck Joe Biden and fuck Wichita Falls School District.
One of the biggest high school rivalry traditions in the state of Texas.
In the
just
United
taken away
States.
in the United States.
All going away.
All because
When's
of
that
some
game?
dumbasses. Friday night.
It is
Yeah,
this
it's
Friday?
the first game of the season now. It used to be towards the end, which
Right.
It was the
pisses
10th
me
game
off.
back in the day. Well, they're not in different district no more, so I understand that. Tony's going to the game Friday. I'm not, and I have a feeling what the score is going to be anyways, but it's going to be 110 degrees on that turf at about kickoff.
it's going to be hot.
It's going to be miserable.
I wonder
Who's
if-
home team
That's
this
what
year?
I was just wondering. I wonder who's going to be in the sun.
If you're in the shade, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Well, if you're on the sunny side, it's going to suck
It's
till halftime.
brutal.
Which one's the home side?
The
West
home
side?
side's the west side.
The west side?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Dang, I think Old High's going to be home this year. They are. Because
That
I
would
remember
make it-
last year, Ryder was like, oh.
That would make it a little bit better then.
I might bring my own little umbrella.
Bring your own umbrella.
Yeah, hot son of a bitch. Anyways, we appreciate you being on here,
Yeah,
Brad.
thank you very much.
And we'll see you. You're going to be here for the Veterans Hunt on November 6th, 7th, and 8th with us. And then you're going to come again on the Monday and Tuesday before Thanksgiving. You'll have a group of guys up here.
Yes, sir.
So if you're a veteran in the state of Texas, you need to reach out. Or is it anywhere? Does it have to be state of Texas?
It doesn't have to be the state of Texas.
Reach out for you. We got a pretty good deal on a hunt on November 19, 20, maybe. Is that the dates? Can't remember it.
That's why I got to write stuff down. 20th and 21st.
20th and 21st. We sold out the last veteran hunt. We've got a hunt on November 20th and 21st. It's $600 for 2 days, normally a $900 hunt. You have Monday and Tuesday, come in Sunday, have dinner that night. You have Monday and Tuesday with Team Texas at Fallen Outdoors, and they got the whole place themselves just about. So anyways, we got a lot of spots open for you. Anyways, we do have some openings left, holler at us.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you coming out here.
Yes,
I'll
thank
see
you
you
so
in a
much,
couple
gentlemen.
months.
Thank
I
you
really
very much.
appreciate this.
Yes, sir.
God bless you. Have a great day. Thank y'all for listening
You
to
too,
us.
brother.
We haven't really got much going on. We got dove season. Go to Boss. This Boss Stanfield 9s are available at Boss. Look up BossShotShells.com. I don't think you can buy them on the internet. I think you have to call the shop to get them. Talk to Brittany or Meg. They'll take care of you.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Go look at our sponsors. Go check out. Give me my paper. Go check out Dirty Duck Coffee, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shell, Shin Gear, Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Duck, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Hemp Hill Farms, and Alpha Outdoor Specialists.